episode of the Sports PSP podcast, the highlight of Friday nights. I am your host, Sports PSP. Hope everybody's enjoying a fantastic day of work, school, whatever the case may be. Alongside me is my fantastic panel. To my right, he is one half of the Georgia Bulldogs brothers. He is who I call Mr. Atlanta, Hawks, Braves, Atlanta Falcons, all that and then some. The one and only BRF Sports. How you doing, man?
Been doing pretty good, man. Had another good week of work. I'm home. I'm off the weekend. I get to relax a little bit. Catching up on some other stuff. Life is good. I can't complain. As like what I'm saying. It's like when we sign off every week, it's like we tell people, man, you gotta appreciate it, man. You gotta take everything in. You can't take nothing for granted. So you gotta kind of live every day with an appreciation of life. So you know what? Life is good. I can't complain. How y'all fellas doing tonight?
We
Good, man.
doing
Glad to see
good.
you.
We doing good, man. And congratulations to everything with you, BRF. Also, BRF, for those who may not know, he is a girl dad. I just want to take the time to emphasize on that. Hey, listen, to all the fathers and all the parents out there, man, congratulations for everything that you're doing with kids. And of course, I cannot do the Sports PSP podcast without my main man, all the way down from Columbus, Georgia. He is the 5-time college degree champion. He is who I often call the Al Roker of journalism, the young Charles Barkley, the young Mark Henry, the young Rick Ross. I mean, he and Rick Ross, they're kind of like twins for a little bit. Sherman Klump's son, Mama Champ's number one favorite son, Ace's best sibling. He is Mr. Entertainment, the big fella, undisputed world champ. And also, by the way, the reason why he was nicknamed champ because of his father. Shout out to Papa Champ. How you doing, big fella?
I'm good. You're not gonna get a better introduction than that. That's great. First of all, Meg the Stallion, thank you. Appreciate it. Meg the Stallion, thank you. Enjoy some food right about now. You ain't putting no hottie sauce in there though, so but I appreciate you. But
Boy,
give my regards
stop.
to Clay, you know. but
You just had to throw that shit out there.
but
Dang.
give my regards to Clay, who just I think he just made the all time he's third on the all time list right about now for 3 point. So
Something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Something
give my
like that.
regards to Clay. Thank you for the chicken. Hey, $5, 3 chicken strips. Get you a good deal. $5. $5 don't buy a lot these days, but it'll buy you 3 strips from Popeyes. If you know it's how expensive Popeyes is, you know $5 don't go too far. But you know, hey, $5, 3 strips. But
Free advertising.
yeah, Popeyes give us some, you know what I'm saying. But man, I'm just glad to be here, man, on the Friday highlight of Friday nights as usual, man. Happy to be entertaining everybody, man. I try to come over here, give everybody a good show, man. Make everybody laugh, entertain. Try to be the movie star, as the great D calls me. So shout out to D, by the way. And man, just trying to entertain, man. Try to, in the great words of Dr. Lee from what the hell was that movie? Drumline.
Drumline, Nick
Yeah,
Cannon, and them.
yeah.
Shout out to
Edu-
Pitch
yeah,
Grid.
yeah. Fried the pitch grid. The educate. We trying to educate and entertain.
Shout out to Cheese and the Bear Pod, the Cheesehead and Bear Pod in
God,
Chicago.
go.
Just like Champ said it last week, man. Shout out to them guys. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to their content. Please go check them out on IG and especially on TikTok, man. And also, I want to give a quick shout out to two beautiful women. Shout out to my professor Jennifer Lazarus. It was her birthday this recent week. Like I said, thank you, Professor, for helping me along the way, teaching me so much about content creation. I try my best to take the same type of I try my best to give the advice you gave me. And I try to do that with Champ, VRF, and so many other great content creators, man. So I just want to say, Professor Lazarus, thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for talking to me. And I appreciate all the advice you've given me with content creation. So I just want to say thank you. And of course, Champ loves her. And I know I love her too. D. Shout out to the beautiful D, man. She she loves your content, Champ. Matter of fact, there was one message I cannot say on the air that either she sent you or vice versa that she was laughing at. So I can't
Yeah,
tell you.
I remember that one. That was unexpected, but I appreciate it. That was in the middle of the day when I was at work doing the project, and I was like, "What the hell?" But that was a cool one, bro. That was a cool one, man. Shout out to D, man, and Mama PSP, man, two of our biggest supporters in this show business that we call. So, man, can't do it
Absolutely.
without. Can't do it. Us good men can't do it without our strong women. They're the backbone. So, man, so you can't do it without it, man. Can't do it without the strong women.
No, we certainly cannot, man. It's always good to have a strong woman with you from a man's perspective.
Yes,
Always.
indeed.
But fellas, let's talk about the national championship. Miami versus Indiana. Um, I was Indiana. I gotta tell you, man, they didn't just beat Oregon; they whooped Oregon's ass in last week's game. I believe in Atlanta. I think it was like 35 to 42 to 7 at one point in that game. Um, Unfortunately, it came to our guy, Brandon from the Blocks to My. Shout out to our guy Brandon. I mean, he looks a lot like Undisputed World Champ. He's like the little brother to Undisputed World Champ. I mean, their family, I don't know. He Champ and Brandon, I don't know. They probably have some great grandmothers or grandfathers or somebody in the circle because they sure as hell look a lot
Yeah, my
like
grandfather. Shout out to my grandfather who's no longer with us. We lost him back in 2016. Yeah, I wish I could have asked you a couple more questions before you unfortunately was taken from us because yeah, I still am discovering a lot of members of my family. Just discovered some that I had in New York. So yeah, they got
that.
family in New York and Niagara Falls, up in Buffalo. They huge Buffalo fans, so they sent the shout out down here. When last time we was talking about Josh, I was like, "You need to talk about Buffalo more." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, shout out to the family up there. But yeah, my grandfather definitely got a lot of family that I really haven't discovered as of yet, man. Shout out to my grandfather. So because hey, when they say Papa was a Rolling Stone, he definitely was one, brother.
Hmm. Fellas, man, Indiana, they look like the real underdog in this one. Indiana, I think aren't they the favorites heading into this game? I'm trying to look up. I'm trying to look up.
Down, let's see, there's 47 and a half over under. Indiana's 8.5 point favorites.
Woo, fellas. BRF, I'll let you go first on this one, man. Who do you have winning?
To be honest with you, I got Indi- I mean, I got Indiana. Really, you look at the way they've played all season, coming to this game, still being undefeated. I feel like the biggest thing that Kurt Signetti is really kind of driving into the Indiana's players' heads is discipline and not making mistakes and not making careless mistakes. And really, right now, to beat Indiana, you have to really take them out of their element and try to make them play your game. Because if you're going to try to match with Indiana and Kurt Signetti right now, you're going to get blasted. You don't believe me? Ask Alabama, ask Oregon. You can go back to the Big Ten championship game, ask Ohio State. Trying to trying to outwit them right now is a lost cause. You can't do it. They're too in sync. The camaraderie is there. The chemistry is there. It's just you it's like you can't outcoach them right now. And I feel like that's the biggest thing you have to do right now with a team as hot as Indiana when they're clicking on all cylinders like this, when everybody's on sync from the O line to the linebackers on the other side of the ball, running backs, just everything. They're all in sync. And I think right now, I think I saw something about Joe Klatt. He's been kind of pushing the whole, the SEC. We know the SEC narrative, like being the dominant force, that narrative's dead. We know that. And he's actually trying to push the claim right now that Kurt Signetti might be the best coach in college football. Granted, Kirby Smart hasn't been to the Final Four in the last 3 years of the CFP. I completely understand that. But with that being said, I still think Kirby Smart's the best coach in college football. But Kurt Signetti is right there. And the reason why I'm picking Indiana in this game because I don't think Miami can really go with Indiana for 4 quarters in terms of just sheer disciplined football. And they just in the way like the way they play offense, especially the way they play defense, they are an 11-man unit. When as soon as they like whether the opponent is passing the ball or rushing the ball, the minute that ball is like crossing the line of scrimmage, you see 11 crimson hats like running to that ball. Like they play as one, regardless of the situation. You have to make Indiana make mistakes to beat them. Right now, I even though Miami's been playing some good ball, I don't know about going 60 minutes with a team like Indiana who plays the most disciplined football in the country right now. I don't really see it. I think for Miami to really kind of have a shot at this game, it all hinges on the play of Carson Beck. I mean, it just does. Carson Beck really has to take care of the football. He has to make plays when the opportunities present himself, and he has to step up. This is the biggest game of his life. I mean, he never got an opportunity he never got a game like this at the University of Georgia, surprisingly enough, because Georgia never got this far. But he's got it with the Miami Hurricanes. He's got to play disciplined ball. He's got to take care of the ball first and foremost. And it's not like Miami doesn't have playmakers. I mean, Malachi Tony's a beast. Malachi Tony is one of the best players in college football, regardless of year. He's a freshman, and he's just been destroying everything since week zero.
And
Malachi
Fletcher, their
Tony's
running
number one.
back. They got a good run.
They'd have a really good running game as well in Fletcher. So Carson Beck has to he has to take care of the ball, and he has to get the ball in those playmakers' hands. He gotta let them do their thing. But just Indiana, man, they play bully ball, man. That front seven, that's what it's about, is bully ball. Like that Oregon game. You knew it was about to go down when the first play was a pick six. You knew what was about to go down. And it just snowballed from there. Even with the standpoint of Oregon coming back and tying that game on the next possession, Indiana was bam, 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 bam. Next thing you know, it's 35-7 at halftime and the game's over. They just they beat you, up, they beat you down, they beat you around. Like they just they play undisciplined. They don't mess up. You can't take them out of the element. And Miami has to do that to win this game. I just don't think they're going to be able to, which is why I'm picking Indiana to win this game. They just play good, solid football. They don't let you lull them to sleep. They stay on the course. They stay on the grind. They are on a mission right now. And I don't see Indiana losing this game. If I had to pick a score right now, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 31. I'm gonna go 31-20 Indiana for this one. I think they covered the 8.5. I think they're playing too good a ball right now. I don't think Miami is really gonna be able to take them out of their element. But I will say this though: if there's a front seven that can get to Fernando Mendoza, it's the Miami Hurricanes. They have a ferocious front seven. Ferocious front seven. You saw that against A&M. You saw that in the Ohio State game. I mean, they get after it. They get after it, and that's what they're going to have. They're going to have to rush Fernando Mendoza, get him off his spot. They're going to have to make him be. They're going to have to really make him play like a true quarterback. Like no, like this. They have to. If I feel like they have a shot, if they make Mendoza actually kind of go through progressions and make him like stand in the pocket, not the one read and go, like actually make him try to read the field. But I just don't know that Indiana offensive line. You know your offensive line is good when one of your linemen wins an MVP for a bowl game. That's when you know your offensive line is on one and they're on point. I got Indiana winning this game 31-20. I just think they play too good and too disciplined of football to really lose right now.
Big fella.
Shout out to JoJo from Sports for You, because it's all about the you. I don't know if people paid attention to this or not. They're talking about Indiana's dominance. Did we see what they did to Ohio State, the defending world champions? Did we see that? I know I'm not the only one who saw it. Do we see how they was able to get after them? So this whole narrative about, oh yeah, they just unstoppable. Look, we thought that Ohio State had the highest. Well, no, they did have the highest powered offense in the world. They have two potential number one overall picks at the wide receiver position. Julian saying, more than likely, since it is a weak draft class, he's going to go in the first round this year if he chooses to come out. They had running back. They were stacked on every level, and the U came out there and dominated. the U came out there and they flat out dominated. So, and the thing is, you got to ask yourself this when it comes to Oregon. Dan Lanning, he did the same thing last year. Went out there and got thrashed against Ohio State. Alabama, they had no business being there. If you ask me who has the best victories at this point in time, it will have to be the University of Miami. There was no question in anybody's mind that the two teams that they played deserved to be there leading up to this point. So I got to go with the U. Now, it's all going to come down to Carson Beck, and that's what everybody's saying. But battles are won and lost in them trenches. And did y'all see how that offensive line, them big boys was out there dominating Ohio State? Did y'all see that? Because I did. And they dominated the line of scrimmage all night. Nate Fletcher was out there just flat out just doing the damn thing. So, not to mention, man, Malachi Tony. Playmaking. Out of this world. And I don't think people realize this. Them Canes are playing at home. Do y'all happen to know Miami's record in bowl games when they are at home? 6-3. 6-3. Matter of fact, they won their first 3 national championships. Where? At the Orange Bowl at home. Yes, indeed. So, look, and right now they're trying to do everything they can in order to prevent Miami from having the home field advantage. Shout out to Luke Skywalker, Uncle Luke. He was just on his podcast, on his platform, talking about, why you laughing when I say Uncle Luke?
Hey, I can't.
Why you laughing when I say Uncle Luke, man?
I wasn't expecting Uncle Luke to come out, but you know what? We can't. Uncle Luke.
We were anticipating Michael Irvin or something else.
Yo, Uncle Luke just as big a part of
he is.
program as Michael Irvin.
We know, but usually Michael Irvin is recently. You've seen him post games taking off his belt, BTAs, and all that other stuff, and we all know how inspirational he is.
Yes,
after all,
indeed.
But you going with the U?
But I'm going with the U, and like Uncle Luke, Luke Skywalker, Mr. Luther Campbell said in his podcast on his platform earlier. The NC2A and everybody around is trying to prevent it from being the home field advantage. They're stopping them from tailgating at this point. They're stopping them from tailgating and a lot of other things that fans normally do when it comes to football games. So they're stopping it from becoming a home field advantage. So, yeah, I think that the U definitely has a home field advantage. Their record is 6-3 when they play at home in bowl games, when they play in their stadium in bowl games, and that's dating all the way back when they played in the world famous Orange Bowl. Shout out to OB, rest in peace to OB. As we all know, that stadium does not exist anymore. But yeah, whenever they play at their home stadium, they're 6-3 in bowl games. And look, Mario Cristobal is one hell of a head coach. And how fitting would it be for him to win at his alma mater, that being the University of Miami? And y'all notice, look, both of these teams are teams of destiny, but I think Miami is the team of destiny. You're playing at home. All of the alumni are back, from Ray Lewis to Andre Johnson to Michael Irvin himself, Willis McGahee. Everybody is back at the U. And that defense don't play. Those 2 edge rushers that they have don't play. So I got to go with the U, man, just because of playmaking and the ability to win battles in the trenches. Because the thing is, Carson Beck, he hasn't had to play marvelous these last couple of games. He had to play good, decent enough in order to get him there. But that running game and him and that offensive ability to make plays when it mattered, that's how they've been winning games, not to mention the defense. He hasn't had to have those 200-300-yard games. He's had to do enough in order to keep them from losing. That defense, that running game has done the rest. So yeah, I'm going with the U on this. They got everything that you could possibly swing in someone's favor is there.
Big fella, I'm gonna find a way to get your big ass out of Miami because I'm gonna try to find every reason you can. I'm going with IU. First of all, you lose me when you said IU hasn't faced any tough competition. We did see them beat Ohio State in that Big Ten championship game. And it wasn't because but they beat them. I don't care. You beat them. And I picked Ohio State to win in that game simply because I didn't think I didn't have much trust against Indiana. I thought at some point in time they were going to crack. But Fernando Mendoza, I think people are sleeping or underestimating Fernando Mendoza. Yes, they have that pass rush. I don't know why it doesn't echo. Never mind. But
you sound like Darth Vader. You sound like Darth Vader a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of do a little bit. But anyway, but back to the game. I'm going with Indiana. I think this is an opportunity for them to win. Curt Cignetti, regardless of the circumstances, hey, the one thing about him, he has backed it up. And Champ, you talk about how dominant Miami's defense is. What about Indiana's? Look at what they've done lately. Look at what they did to Ohio State in the Big Ten National Championship game. Look at what they did to Alabama, albeit it is Alabama. They're no longer the same anymore. Kalen DeBoer, there's still questions out on him. Then on top of that, we can't ignore what just happened to them against Oregon. It was embarrassing for Oregon in that game. And I think when it comes to a tight game situation, late in a clutch moment, Fernando Mendoza, and you talk about how historic it is for Miami. What about Indiana? This could be their first opportunity for them to win a championship. Have they won a national championship as a football player back in the 60s? And I think it'd be meaningful for them to win a national championship, given the fact that historically they're known for basketball. And again, Miami, Florida. I don't think you remember, Champ. Where is Fernando Mendoza from?
He's from Miami, Florida, ain't he?
Yes. And for those who may not know, Fernando Mendoza is Cuban. Remember, he became the first Cuban player to win the Heisman Trophy. And you talking about how it's a statement game for Miami? What do you think is going to be for Fernando Mendoza to be back home? And on top of that, have y'all checked out some of these Indiana wide receivers that they have and Amari Cooper and them? They can catch the football. The back shoulder throws. Do you think Miami's secondary going to be ready for that, big fella? We know what they can do as far as with the pass rush, but don't sleep on Indiana's offensive line. And on the other side, you got to look at Indiana's defense. They can get after the guys. They can put pressure on them, and their defense is not to sleep with. And we've seen them blown out teams. I'm going to go with Indiana 31-28. And I think if it comes to a game-winning situation, I got my money on Fernando Mendoza. And I think Curt Cignetti, do I think he's the best head coach in college football right now? I probably still lean into Kirby Smart to BRF's points. But if he wants to make a statement, this would be it.
Exactly.
And Indiana, we've seen them. Look, the closest game that they had a chance of losing was Penn State. Mm-hmm. And somehow, some way, they were able to pick themselves back up. With Miami, okay, you talk about Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, remember. Because Miami didn't dominate them in that game, unless you look at the defensive side of the football field, particularly with Ruben Bain.
Yes.
Now against Ohio State, they did their thing. We saw them what they did to Ole Miss. It was that close in that game. Let's not act as if Miami completely dominated Ole Miss. It was that close. So I think for Indiana, they have a good chance. I am concerned that they are the favorites, 8.5. I think it's a little too high. I think it should be at least 4.5, in my opinion. But I think Indiana's going to make a statement game. And I would love to, and I hate to say that because, again, for those who may not know, PSP, although I am the New Jersey genius and I live in Jersey, I was born in Miami. I would love to live in Miami. Shit, especially when it's hot weather, beautiful woman, no state income taxes, and all that type of stuff. Who wouldn't be in any of those places? But I do think with Indiana, they have the bigger story, the bigger narrative, because we talk about basketball. It's historically a basketball state. We know about the Indiana Fever. We know about the Indiana Pacers. How would it be for the Indiana Hoosiers to win a national championship the first time in the 1960s and for Fernando Mendoza to win it? I think Indiana has a good shot. And I think their defense has been slept on for the most part. So I'm going to go with Indiana 31, Miami 28. 31-28. So I think this is going to be a good game, man. But anyway, let's move on. BRF, what did you thought about that Packers-Bears game? The Bears came back from an 18-point deficit. It looked like Green Bay was about to blow the Bears out. Caleb Williams early on didn't play particularly well. He threw 2 picks in that game. But the Green Bay Packers, McMinnis with the missed field goals and the extra point, it was a wasted. I feel bad for Matthew Golden because he and Kadarius Toney, they're the only 2 rookies in their the only 2 wide receivers in their rookie season that not had a touchdown. He was able to score a touchdown in that game. But Caleb Williams, that 4th and 8 throw that he made, and Green Bay, this is devastating. BRF, I said Matt LaFleur was under some pressure. He's still going to be able to keep his job. I'm not surprised because you're not going to replace him. It's going to be hard to replace a guy like Matt LaFleur. But I do think heading into next season, he's under the hot seat. He's got to be under the hot seat because, again, we can talk about all the injuries that Green Bay has had this season, but he's been the head coach there since 2019. And I think considering how you lost to Chicago, and especially in this fashion, it's going to be hard for them to stomach. As for Chicago, and it looks pretty bad for you if you're Matt LaFleur, considering how the way Ben Johnson treated you post-game. So you're going to have to deal with that all off season. But for Caleb Williams, clutch. The defense, they had a hard time in the first half. Jordan Love, he had 4 touchdowns in that game. And still Caleb Williams just found a way to get it done, man. Ben Johnson has done his part with this team. Chicago, what are your thoughts, BRF?
That game I was not expecting to go that way. I don't think a lot of people did. Green Bay jumping out like that. The offense was clicking. Jordan Love was cooking. Matthew Golden goes all year without a touchdown and picks like the most opportune time to finally break out and have his game.
Yep.
In that in that wild card round against Green Bay. I want to say he broke 100 yards. He had a touchdown. He showed up and he showed out. And that's your number 1 pick at wide receiver. You were hoping he could have done this more during the regular season. But hey, if you're gonna do it in the playoffs. Do it when it matters. And he showed up and he showed out. Like that touchdown play was just Jordan Love made a good throw, but that was all Matthew Golden. Breaking tackles, just basically saying, move, you ain't finna stop me. I'm getting in the end zone. I don't care what you do.
And Romeo Doubs also stepped up and played too.
Oh yeah, but Romeo Doubs for Green Bay has really been doing that all year. He came in really as that wide receiver 1, and he's really shown that for the most part this year. Romeo Doubs has pretty much been the most consistent threat as far as like skill position all year, pretty much outside of Tucker Kraft before he got hurt. So So, how about that? Okay, can you hear me?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, but with that being said, Caleb Williams has got to be one of the most clutch guys we got going in the NFL right now. I mean, it's like you can stop him for 3 quarters, but then that fourth quarter comes and he just turns into a different beast. He turns
He
into a different
does.
animal. He really does. And shout out to him for not really, even when the game was like 27-16. I mean, him and Ben Johnson, they didn't stray away from the game plan. They didn't freak out. They stayed true to what they did best. They were still running the football. They were still featuring DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, and they were still getting it done. Still getting it done. That 4th and 8 to Rome Odunze is one of the best plays I've seen all year. It's one of the best plays I've seen all year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be able to make that play, running to his left side. Going up. Y'all go ahead.
I'm gonna say one thing only. Is that all right, PSP? Say one thing only. Learn from the Houston Oilers. Can't hear you, PSP. PSP, you mute, bud.
I'm sorry. Some technical difficulties. Damn, can't even start well on the Friday. But yeah, but big fella, they didn't run the football as much late in that game. You would have thought after having an 18-point lead, but
but learn from the Houston Oilers. What do I mean by that, champ? What do you mean? Learn from the Houston Oilers. Or better yet, learn from Kyle Shanahan. Run the ball when you have the lead late in the game. Look, I know it ain't sexy to pound the rock. I know it ain't sexy to just run the clock out. I know that ain't the sexy way to win. Everybody want to just air it out like a Steelers fan. Everybody want to keep throwing the ball, want to be on the highlight reel. Everybody want to do all that. But when you got a big lead that late in the game, and you got Josh Jacobs out of Alabama. Run the ball. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Run the dang ball. He should have got way more than 19 carries. He should have got the ball.
Agree.
He should have got the ball at least 30, 35 times. That's the thing. That's how come the Houston Oilers could never win critical playoff games. They did not run the ball in critical situations. They kept sticking to the run and shoot offense. And that's what happens to a lot of these teams when you see these huge leads. They keep wanting
But big fella, here's the thing though. Matt LaFleur, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he the QB coach for Atlanta the year when y'all went to the Super Bowl?
Exactly. I was getting to that. That's like I said. Learn from the Houston Oilers, or better yet, learn from the Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Shanahan.
Had to chunk the hat.
So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, you got to learn. The thing is, when you got a big lead late in games, even if you got a small lead, man, 4 yards a pop does a hell of a lot of good, and it's killing that clock. Not to mention, you on the road. Do you know how damn hard it is to play in Chicago in playoff time?
Exactly.
It is cold. So, Matt LaFleur definitely has a lot of things he has to get squared away, man. And a lot of coaches need to stop with this whole situation of you just want to keep throwing the ball late in the game. When you have that lead, run the ball. Run it. That's how come the New England Patriots were so good in the early 2000s. They understood how to run the ball late in games, and they knew how to close it out. Same thing when Pittsburgh was at their peak. They knew how to close out games because they do give it to their running back, let him close it out. Let him run that clock out. Let's put our faith not just in our running back, but our boys up front. Let's win the battle at the line of scrimmage, and let's get these 5 yards a pop. And even if you get 4 yards every 4 yards every 3 downs, that's a first down. 4 yards every 3 downs are still a first down. Keep running the ball, especially when you got a powerhouse like Josh Jacobs back there.
Unfortunately, 19 carries for 55 yards on 2.9 yards a carry. Despite that, they could have used him more in situational football, champ, on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1s. But that's where I would disagree with you as far as running the football. It's just that with Matt LaFleur, champ, some of the play calling, to BRF's point, they should have kept the ball more in Matthew Golden's hands because he was giving you the work in that game.
Exactly. I feel like for me, Matthew Golden was the hot hand in that game, and I know that offense is still predicated through Josh Jacobs, and you got to feed him the rock. But sometimes I feel like
Absolutely.
in the playoffs, you have to put the ball in the hot hand. If your running back's a hot hand, you feed him 25, 30 times. You get him the rock because if your running back's a hot hand, you know what's happening with your defense. Your defense is getting tired. They're staying on the field too long. When it comes, you hit that 7-8 minute mark in the fourth quarter, that defense is gas. You're ripping them apart 6, 7, 8 yards. By then, they can't do nothing else. In a situation with the wide receivers eating like that, eventually they're gonna have to try to double them or try to bracket them, keep a safety over the top. That's gonna open up Jaden Reed more. That's gonna open up It's going to open up Romeo Dobbs more. You put Dontavian Wicks out there in 4 wide receiver situations, he's going to get some looks. And Josh Jacobs, we forget the fact he is a very good all-purpose back. He is a good receiver out of the backfield. So there were plays to be made for the Green Bay Packers. So and this is the thing about Chicago. I've been a fan of their defense for the last couple of years, but this year, like yardage wise, they have not been good. They've given up a lot of yards. They've given up a lot of points. But what they do better than anybody else, number one in the league in takeaways. Number one in the league in takeaways. It's like no matter with the Chicago Bears, no matter what you do, you could rip them apart. You could go from 20 to 20 somehow, some way. Whether it's the defensive line, whether it's the secondary, it's a strip sack, it's a forced fumble, it's an INT. They find a way to take the ball away to put that ball back in Caleb Williams' hands. And Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter is one of the scariest entities in these playoffs. The dude is one of the clutch players going. That 4th and 8 to Roma Dunze is one of the best plays I've seen all year. Running to his left, they call it the jump man. It's the Caleb jump man throw. That's what it is now. That's what they call it because he literally looks like the Michael Jordan logo when he's throwing the ball when the ball is coming out of his hands. That's what he looks like.
Which is why Chicago should do everything they could to keep staying in Chicago. I don't want to hear about them going to Indiana, becoming the Indiana Bears.
Absolutely.
For that sports town. And they've been dying for so long for a franchise type of QB. And again, if
they got it right, they might have finally have it right.
Hey, the GM, I think it was Ryan Poles.
Ryan Poles.
He received a lot of criticism, and again, he knew he was going to be on the hot seat with the Caleb Williams pick. I mean, in 2023, they traded the number 1 overall pick to Carolina, and Carolina ended up getting Bryce Young. And to Bryce Young's defense, he has stepped it up. And by the way, I thought he actually played solid in the Rams game, in the playoff game. Yes, I thought to his credit, he did play.
Y'all know I've been a big proponent for Matthew Stafford winning the Most Valuable Player award. I picked him in the preseason. Bryce Young outplayed that man in the playoff game. I mean, let's keep it a buck. He outplayed Matthew Stafford.
And to be honest with you, BRF, I am kind of concerned about Los Angeles getting it done against Chicago because one thing about Los Angeles, we see them have some hiccups. We saw week 3 against the Eagles. We saw Seattle on Thursday Night Football. They did lose to Carolina at Carolina in the regular season. And despite them beating Carolina, Matthew Stafford hitting the game-winning clutch touchdown, I got some concerns. So if I'm Sean McVay, I got to be very concerned. But back to this game.
Mm-hmm.
I got to steal Champ's thunder because he keeps telling me all the time. I get so nauseated from time to time. Anytime whenever I'm sleeping, I have these dreams of him saying, quarterback cannot throw on his back. Quarterback cannot throw on his back. Quarterback cannot throw on his back. Big fella, what I've been trying to, that's the definition of a pass rusher. what I've been trying to tell you about Montez Sweat.
Yep.
Have I not told you how meaningful he is to Washington? Have I not told you? Told me, hey, Montez Sweat, he hasn't had double-digit sacks, and I'm like, no. Watch the tape, brother. The tape don't lie. See, men lie. And people have to say men lie, women lie, numbers never lie. It doesn't tell the entire story. Because if you look at Montez Sweat, if you see how long he is, if you see how athletic he is, he's gonna get after the quarterback. And it's going to be a problem for Matthew Stafford on Sunday night. And I told you, Champ, I wanted to keep him if I'm Washington. Hell, I think you or BRF said y'all wanted him in Atlanta.
Yeah, we had him in Atlanta, but Chicago gave up. We gave him a 3rd round pick. The deal was done. Chicago swooped in and gave him a 2nd round pick, and that was
yep, exactly. He was. Champ's right. I mean, yeah, the deal was pretty much set in stone. He was good as ours, but as soon as Chicago said, we'll up the 2nd. I mean, if you're Washington, you have to you got to take that.
And plus to Champ, you also knew you were trying to get your hands on Daron Payne.
We were trying to get him or either Daron Payne. Yeah, we were trying to steal one of them.
But big fella, I understand to your point, running the football, don't be the Houston Oilers. But even when they're running the football collectively, the Packers in that game, 23 carries for 99 yards, 4.3 yards per carry. Josh Jacobs finished that game 19 carries for 55 yards. Did I like the fact that Jordan Love was throwing the ball how many times? 46? No. But I did like the fact how he was connecting with Golden and Romeo Doubs. That beautiful deep ball pass that he threw to Romeo Doubs, man. I think for the Rams versus Bears, I would not be surprised, and we're going to get into our picks later on in the show. Don't be surprised if Chicago ends up winning. Because the Rams, they're going to make some mistakes with some turnovers here and there, and Caleb Williams and company is going to capitalize. But the other thing no one brings up about this game, McMinnis missed some field goals. Before the second half, he had a chance to hit the field goal. Chicago at first called the timeout, but then when he attempted the field goal again, he missed it. We also can't ignore him missing the other field goal in the second half. We also can't ignore the fact that he missed an extra point after Jordan Love connected with Matthew Golden on a touchdown. So I also look at special teams with Green Bay as far as running the football. But you always say, big fella, you get to determine the games. Don't let somebody get to determine the games for you.
Yeah.
And if you give Caleb Williams and if you give that offense an opportunity for them to come back and win that game, that's what's going to happen. Do I think Matt LaFleur was going to get fired? No. Because if you lose him, if you fire him, who are you going to find that's comparable? But I do think heading into the offseason, Champ, he has to be under some hot seat. He has to, especially, you didn't lose to Chicago not once, twice.
Yeah.
When you had leads.
Yep.
One game in which Jordan Love didn't play. It was Malik Willis. And to Malik Willis's defense, he actually played well in that game.
Yes, he did.
So I think for Green Bay, Matt LaFleur, heck, I kind of wish he would have been fired for one reason only. Y'all. Unfortunately, y'all didn't end up getting John Harbaugh. He's now with the New York Giants. And I don't think Mike Tomlin is going to go to Atlanta.
It's probably going to end up being Clint Kubiak. The rumor is that's who Matt Ryan wants because of the Shanahan connection. He runs an offense similar to him. Yeah. I think, and honestly, from the get-go, he's probably, if we weren't going to get he was like my number one guy from the jump anyway. So I'm actually really happy. I'm happy if we end up with Clint Kubiak, but that's a discussion for later.
And you should get Mac Jones to pair him up because I think he would be tailor-made for that offense. If you get Mac Jones in there with that type of offense, I think Atlanta will be fine. But
I can definitely see it.
Oh, definitely.
And
but I think for
Tyler Algier, have to resign Tyler Algier.
Really, I would love to see him be another one elsewhere. I understand the dynamic duo. I understand for your reason, Chin. I understand for your reason, champ, but Tyler Algier, I would love to see him as a number one for a football team. I
Yeah.
think I would love to see that for somebody else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think he should test free agency, and he deserves to test free agency. I mean, trust me, we are selfish when it comes to these boys, and we would love to see this Bijan Tyler combo for years to come. But at the same time, I feel like if any guys deserve, and I said this before, Tyler Algier is more than deserving to being a number one back in another organization. He could start for at least 10 to 12 teams in this league. He is that talented. And I
just not
remember
the
when
Aints.
we drafted him in the 5th round. When I saw that we had drafted him in the 5th round, I said, "Yo, this is the steal of the draft." I
Yeah.
said flat out, this was the steal of the draft. This man gets 1,000 his rookie year. He was the steal of that draft, and I said it from the jump. If anybody deserves to be number one back, is Tyler Algier. Shout out to him. If he gets his money elsewhere, I'm gonna be. He's not gonna be one of these Falcons that leave, and I'm gonna be like, man, I ain't with it no more, man. I'm gonna be rooting for Tyler Algier until the day he retires.
Just don't have him going to New Orleans. Just don't have him playing for the Aints. As long
Honestly-
as he doesn't go there, you'll be
Honestly,
fine.
I would root for him going there, but when he plays us, I'm gonna be like, man, send him back to BYU. But I'm still gonna be rooting for him either way.
Yeah.
But I think for this game, man, Chicago, what a great narrative. I mean, I was at the bar. I watched the entire game. Motherfuckers were losing their shit. They were letting Caleb. And I'm happy because, again, it gives Chicago fans, it gives us NFL fans. I mean, Chicago, the Bears, cornerstone franchise, storied franchise. Chicago, a huge market as it is. They finally found it together with the QB, and they finally got together with the head coach. They've got pieces with Kyle Mungai, DeAndre Swift from your Georgia Bulldogs, Roman Dunze. How about that tight end, though?
Colston Loveland's been beasting, boy.
From Michigan. Do you see them yards that he put up in that game?
Gashing.
What is it? What first rookie to go 8 for 100 in a playoff game ever?
8 catches for 137 yards.
First rookie tight end to ever do that in a playoff game. Colston Loveland. I don't know what Ben Johnson's done, but he's finally tapped in with him. And it's almost like that Kyle Pitts effect down here, or it's like a Travis Kelce effect with Kansas
And it's
City.
shocking, BRF. And the reason why I'll tell you why it's shocking, because how much love you have for Cole Kmet. And now
I did. I thought Cole Kmet was a top 10 tight end coming into this year. Colston Loveland's passed him. He's lapped him. Colston Loveland is like Cole Kmet times 5. I mean, he's a great route runner. He's speedy at his size. He's got great hands. He's actually a good blocker too. He does everything well. Colston Loveland might already be a top 10 tight end in football. That boy is already that talented.
Yeah, man. But I would love to see Chicago. If they get to the Super Bowl, I mean, that would be a hell of a story.
I mean, if you think about this, it's a hell of a narrative because 3 quarterbacks that came out of the same draft class have a chance in order to at least make it to a championship game. Jaden Daniels, your quarterback, already did it last year.
Drake May and now Caleb Williams.
May and Bo Nix and Caleb Williams have all 3 of them have a chance in order to make it to at least to a conference championship. Can you imagine?
Don't look now, boy. That 2024 quarterback class, they starting. I mean, outside of our boy, that 2024 draft class, boy, they starting to starting to make a name for themselves in the history book.
And including one of them who's in the conversation for MVP. Now, Matthew Stafford, he was voted first team All-Pro, but don't be surprised if Drake May wins it, because last year Lamar Jackson was first team All-Pro, and he didn't win it, and he had the numbers. Yeah. Matthew Stafford, if you look at it, he has the numbers as far as touchdowns, but Drake May does have total yards. If you look at his numbers, they ain't shabby. Over 4,000 yards, the rushing yards, the number one completion percentage.
I think what's going to give it to Matthew Stafford, though. I think Matthew Stafford's still going to get it, though. The ultimate reason why is what he's done against the competition. I mean, the Rams have had the second hardest schedule in football, and some of the games Matthew Stafford has put up against like really, really good teams is ultimately why I think the needle still is going to move to him. But like you said, man, if Drake May wins it, I would not be shocked because homeboy is just I wasn't
I
expecting
also
a leap this fast.
BRF. I also think not only because of competition, I think this is another way to solidify Matthew Stafford's case for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, if he wins the Super Bowl, if he wins the MVP,
He's already won the Super Bowl. If he
the
wins
Super
an
Bowl,
MVP,
I think he get it there on top of another Super Bowl. Yeah, I think he has to win another Super Bowl in order for him to be able to get in there. But yeah, Matthew Stafford is something special, man.
from UGA, and I was at that draft class in 2009. I thought him and Megatron, they were going to be an excellent quarterback, wide receiver duo. It's just unfortunate with them.
They had Matt Millen as their general manager. Wasn't Matt Millen?
Facts.
Yeah, they had Matt Millen as their
It
general manager.
was. It
So I
was.
mean, the whole Fire Millen that was entertaining. That was very entertaining. Fire Millen. That if social media would have went viral back then, that would have been something special. But Matthew Stafford is something special. But this 2024 quarterback draft class looking more special by the day. I mean, the one that stands out the most is the 83 draft class. And then you got to give a shout out to the 2004 draft class with Eli, Big Ben, and Phillip
Phillip
Rivers.
Rivers.
Yeah.
You got to give them a nod. But this 2024 draft class, oh yeah, the Baker Mayfield draft class
2018.
2018.
with
Hit
him, Lamar,
Sam Darnold,
Sam
Josh
Darnold.
Allen.
Yeah, you got to give a nod to them as well. But this is the most, like, it was fast. It's real fast. I mean, Denver has a chance to go to the AFC championship. You know, and they have a stifling defense. You know, there's a lot of chances that we have to see this 2024 draft class do good real early. So I'm excited to see that. One thing to keep in mind before we get into these picks later on in the show, Matthew Stafford is 1-9 in cold weather games.
I told you that, champ.
Yeah.
And again, it's in Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't survive in the fort up there in New Jersey, up in your neck of the woods. I didn't survive that for a whole one.
If you didn't, you can't survive that. What the hell makes you think you're gonna survive in Chi-Town?
That Chicago,
and not to mention them people in Chi-Town, because you know how it is up there in Chi-Town.
The Chi, yeah, but yeah, I really think that Matthew Stafford, if he gets the trifecta, what I like to call it, he definitely has a chance to get into the Hall of Fame and maybe even first ballot, if you will, because of recency bias, if you really want me to be honest. He'll have the stats. The only thing that he lacks, and it's just light in the behind, is he don't have that many All-Pros. He don't have that many Pro Bowls. And if you really want me to be honest with you, there was never a time, even when he got to San Francisco, not even when he got to the same division as San Francisco and those teams like that, even when he got to Los Angeles, there was never a time where you looked at him and said, that's the best quarterback in the league.
You didn't, but you always knew that if you put Stafford in a situation in better circumstances, watch what he could do. Yeah. He proved Ndamukong Suh, Calvin Johnson, Brandon Pettigrew, all them good players that they had in Detroit, they were luxuries. Yeah. And they had I forget the guy I forget the head coach who was there for Matthew Stafford's first 3 years in the NFL. I can't remember his name. I know he was a former defensive guy.
Jim Caldwell.
No, he was offense coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yes, this was before they hired Jim Caldwell. I forget the name of the head coach in the 2011
Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz, yes, just Jim Schwartz. And then they had Jim Caldwell. And I still don't understand how Jim Caldwell is not head coach in the NFL. That's a story for another day.
And then they fired him for this guy, Matt Patricia.
Matt Patricia, which that doesn't make sense. But again, it goes to show you Detroit and their incompetencies. But fellas, champ, we got to talk about San Francisco, Philadelphia. You picked San Francisco, bang, bang, nine gang. I wasn't surprised at all. Look, I understand why y'all said Kyle Shanahan's under the most pressure because of the fact that he hasn't won a Super Bowl. I also think because of all the head coaches that have joined in. Liam Cohen, first-year head coach. Ben Johnson, first-year head coach. Mike Vrabel, even though he's been a head coach before, first year with the New England Patriots, no expectations. A lot of other young coaches, even coaches who have won Super Bowls, though. Even though Nick Sirianni has won a Super Bowl, we obviously pick Kyle Shanahan as the head coach. The Eagles. You can't ask anything more from your defense. Your defense has kept you all throughout the season. Your offense. And no surprise, they fired Kevin Patola. People are going to look at Jalen Hurts and say he's trash. He's not a good quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts is still a top 10 quarterback. I think he's a good enough quarterback that you can win with. But that's not the issue. Other than Kevin Patola. Champ, we've said it. And a lot of people are saying it now. They should trade A.J. Brown.
Absolutely.
We've been saying it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of weird though, Champ. I don't like to brag or toot my own horn, but lately, all these other good personalities, well-known big personalities, I think they're watching us because we've been saying it.
I've been telling you that ever since I weighed 350, and then I came all the way down from 350 to 330. So I mean, I've been telling you that since last year. I've been telling you that last year. All these big countries, they watching the show because every time we say something, lo and behold, and I'm not talking about in their own words. You know, I can deal with that. They say it verbatim.
Oh no, they be saying that stuff verbatim.
Like it's just like it's kind of
Wait
like.
a minute,
you know,
do you remember how he was covering the NFL draft in one time and how they were taking what he was saying?
Yeah.
Like the questions that he was asking. And I'm like, wait a minute.
That's
it tells us one or two things. It tells us either you're that insecure or hell, we really do a good job as far as entertaining people.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of both, but you said it, Champ. I said it, Champ. We think they should trade A.J. Brown. You said that he should go to Kansas City. If I'm Kansas City, hey, look, if I'm Andy Reid, I've dealt with controversial players both on and off the football field. What difference would it make if I bring in A.J. Brown? Although you agree with me, there are other things they need to address more importantly, which is the offensive line, but they also need to get a tight end. I would love to see them get that tight end from Oregon. That's somebody that Patrick Mahomes needs to have with. If I'm Kansas City, or you even mentioned Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. You did mention that.
Yeah. Or look.
I think that's what I honestly think they need that more than the tight end as a running back. You put Jeremiah Love in that offense, Lord have mercy.
Or if you're looking for a tight end, we got a guy by the name of Will Depps out of the great city of Athens, if you will. So you looking for a tight end, you know, we got somebody. He ain't Brock Bowers, but he gonna get the job done. Will Depps is very, very good. But
I think Bowers has him as far as with the speed. When Brock Bowers is healthy,
yeah,
and when you finally give him a quarterback, and I believe the Raiders, they're going to draft Mendoza, Brock Bowers' numbers is going to excel. Yeah. I think it wouldn't surprise me next year. This is my hot take. Brock Bowers could win Offensive Player of the Year if you actually give him a legit QB to work with. Even if they have an awful record, still, I think he has a good shot of winning Offensive Player of the Year if you actually give him a Mendoza or any top-notch QB. But, Champ, I got to look at San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan, his coaching. Again, Champ, you said it. Go ahead, San Francisco. Go fire him. See what you're going to find in return. Robert Saleh, hey, he's looking good. Hey, if I'm Baltimore, even though it may be Brian Flores, I wouldn't be too mad if I get my hands on Robert Saleh. And plus, I don't think he has to deal with the pressure because, again, after all, it was New York. It was the Jets organization. He doesn't have to deal with Aaron Rodgers' personality. And on top of that, you don't have to deal with Woody Johnson's incompetencies, let alone with the Madden ratings. But that's for another day.
I'm still laughing to this day about that. I never forget when you told me that. I didn't believe you at first. I said, ain't no damn way they do it that.
You thought I was fabricated?
No, I thought you was messing with me for a second. You know, me and you joke a lot. So I'm like, ain't no damn way. We went straight. I clicked on that damn video from ESPN.
He
Yes,
wasn't,
we do
bro.
go by the bad rating.
He wasn't,
Yeah.
bro. I read that story and I wanted to just I read that story and I was done. I was so done with I already don't respect Woody Johnson as an owner, but as soon as I read that story, I was like completely done with him. I'm like, bro, are you serious right now? Chad Johnson ain't coming through that door to offer you some updates on these Madden ratings to let you know, hey, you need to go get said player. You know, it ain't gonna go down like that. You ain't got no Madden coordinators, boy. You got this real life here, man. I was so done with him after that. Like, you
But
gotta be Josh.
but it
Speak,
but
I was done with him. I
but
was
it
so
is what
done
it
with him.
is. But
Like,
when
my
I look
God,
at San Francisco, unfortunately for them, it did cost George Kittle. He's going to be out for the remainder of the postseason due to the Achilles. So it's a huge loss for San Francisco. I do think they're going to have to look at getting a tight end, whether in day 2, day 3 in the draft. Brock Purdy, he played okay. Didn't need to be spectacular. Hey, they also had C-Mac there. He was eating too. And also, I did love the play call when they asked Rashad Jennings to throw the football to McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Beautiful play call by Kyle Shanahan. A.J. Brown, you did
that
not
was a
step up in
pretty
that
play
game.
call, bro.
It was. Three drops. 3. So I don't want to hear anyone saying that Jalen
3
Hurts
drops in the fourth quarter.
he was the reason, especially when you've been complaining all along about not getting the football, not being incorporated in the offense. Don't want to hear all that stuff. Own it. As for the Eagles, I'm kind of happy that they're at home because, again, I don't have to see them going to another Super Bowl. Sorry to Broad, good friend, diehard Eagles fan, very objective. I talked to him. I said, hey, man, sorry what happened. He said, we got to do what we got to do, and we got to get rid of Kevin Patola. The question is now, who are they going to hire as an offensive coordinator, and how much is going to hurt Jalen Hurts because he's worked with several different offensive coordinators. And to me, it's consistent now because it's not just Jalen Hurts, Chan Baker Mayfield, some of these other QBs. Now they got to learn from new playbooks from different offensive coordinators. So how is Jalen Hurts going to work with that? The good thing is, if you're Philadelphia, you love what you saw from Saquon in that game. As far as his explosion, his speed, Saquon is still one of the top 3 running backs in the NFL. I mean, obviously there's Bijan, there's him, there's C-Mac, there's Jonathan Taylor, there's James Cook. Saquon is still in that conversation.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
The only 2 things I could take from the game from Philadelphia, A.J. Brown's drops, Kevin Patola, his lack of creativity with the offense, especially in the fourth quarter. I think they should trade A.J. Brown and have him go elsewhere. I would like to see him in Los Angeles to pair him up with Herbert and Lab McConkey and to add another deep threat for Los Angeles. And we're going to talk about Los Angeles in this game. But BRF, man, thoughts on the game?
Have a stat. Shout out to John and Mark and Big Nick Freeze, Sports for You. I had a surprise appearance on there last week on their episode, and I revealed the stat to them fellas, and I got to share it with my 2 brothers here. And this involves the Philadelphia Eagles and force feeding AJ Brown. Would you like to hear my stats? Would you like to hear my records as far as them when they give AJ Brown the ball?
Go
Would
ahead.
you like to hear it?
Go
Absolutely.
ahead.
Okay. All right. Since AJ Brown was acquired from the Tennessee Titans, when AJ Brown gets 10 targets or more, their record is 11-10. When AJ Brown gets less than 10 targets, they are 30-9. That says all you need to say as far as the Philadelphia Eagles and how they like to play offense. They like to play offense through Saquon Barkley and just distribute accordingly, predicate based off of what Saquon Barkley is doing running the football or their running game, period. Because you also have to remember before Saquon Barkley got there, DeAndre Swift was there. DeAndre Swift had one of his best years of his career with the Philadelphia Eagles. If I'm mistaken, that was AJ Brown's first year there. But it still is all the same when the Philadelphia Eagles are running the ball and they're not having to worry about force feeding AJ Brown, which honestly I feel like their offense runs better based off of the efficiency of Devontae Smith getting as many targets as per se AJ Brown, because defenses
especially with
have
the
to
deep
worry
ball.
about both. Exactly, especially with the deep ball, because we know how good of a deep threat Devontae Smith is. You have him to worry about. You have AJ Brown to worry about. You have Dallas Goddard in the middle controlling the seams, and then whoever's playing running back. When the Philadelphia Eagles are evenly distributing the ball, it makes them that more dangerous. When you're force feeding AJ Brown, no other players having opportunities to get the ball, get hot, kind of work themselves in the offense. It stalls out. It slows down when you're worrying. And it's like that a lot of times when you have that one dominant personality at a wide receiver and you're worried about him force feeding him the ball. The offense does not play as well, and you lose more games that way. But it also doesn't help when you have a guy like Kevin Patullo, who's a very bad play caller. That fourth down play, what San Francisco called clinched the game on, that was a simple a Madden four verticals route call as you're gonna see. And San Francisco was ready for it. I mean, you throw to Dallas Goddard and triple cover to lose. You deserve to lose. So I definitely think it's time for the Philadelphia Eagles to part with AJ Brown. It's time for them to trade him. I mean, you mentioned the LA Chargers. I actually think that's one of the better fits anybody could come up with, because
Hey,
he could.
Herbert,
Because I feel
a
like
deep,
Lad McConkey is
eh,
he's a good
and
receiver. Yeah, he's
no,
a
no,
good
no,
receiver,
he's good.
but
Let me
he's
tell.
not a number one.
I love it for the Chargers. Sorry to cut you off, BRF, because you get to have Lad
No, you
back
good.
at playing the slot. I love it when he plays
That's his
slot
natural
as
role.
opposed to, yeah, that's his natural role. Going back to UGA, AJ is that number one threat for you. Plus, he can handle with the 50-50 balls because of his physicality, his catching ability, his catch radius, and plus Herbert has a big enough arm. And again, who's that type of person who can make those types of plays, and especially with Yak, AJ. But I
Exactly.
look at that Philly game, man. They're better off with running the football with
Yeah,
Saquon.
they are. They are
They are a
exactly.
run oriented football team. And again, when Saquon's not getting it going for them, it's gonna hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean, like, just kind of going back to the game, like my perspective, and like just watching that game. That game was won by Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is a top three running back in this league. I feel like when the chips are like an all pro team, you want to send out there with your life on the line, and you want three running backs. I'm gonna send Bijan Robinson. I'm gonna send Saquon Barkley. I'm gonna send Christian McCaffrey. Point blank simple. If I'm on three running backs in a football game, them the three running backs I want. Christian McCaffrey, like just coming off of injury the way he has these last couple of years, and to come back and just show up and show out the way he has, he is like one of the best running backs in the league as far as dictating tempo. As like not only can is he great as far as like your zone blocking schemes and running on the outside and taking those toss sweeps and all that stuff. He's underrated between the tackles. He's very good between the tackles. And come on, man, he's one of the best receiving running backs in football. I mean, what more? And Robert Saleh and that defense, I'm telling you what, they came to play. Whether it was Eric Kendricks, whether it was Lenore, whether it was just anybody on that front seven. I mean, they were rocking those skill position players. I mean, they couldn't get away. I mean, it was just pressuring them all game long. and just force him. You can't run your mouth the way you did. You asked for trades multiple times this season just because of how unhappy you were with the offense. You can't run your mouth about not getting the ball. And then when you get opportunities to catch the ball, 3 drops in the fourth quarter alone. That's money time. That's money ball. And you weren't playing up the bar. I mean, you're the one that's wanted the opportunities. That's your time to shine. That's your time to step up. And you didn't get the job done. You let your quarterback down. Now your quarterback getting slashed and just absolutely trashed and thrashed from pillar to post. Everybody talking about how bad of a quarterback he is, when in reality, you dropped good passes from Jalen. Jalen did all he could. He did all he could. So like I said, I look at this game just from the standpoint of San Francisco being able to pressure Philly, make Jalen Hurts make bad throws, bad reads. And San Francisco won this game. This was not Philly losing this game. San Fran won this game, deserved this game. They made more plays. Kyle Shanahan. I know I put the pressure on Kyle Shanahan, but games like this is why Kyle Shanahan, to me, is the best play caller in the National Football League. Games like that, being able, the play to Jawan Jennings on that reverse, that
to the touchdown,
and the shout out to Jawan Jennings. That was a gorgeous pass from Jawan Jennings. They ran a play like that. Remember the Super Bowl a couple years ago against Kansas City?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Going into Christian McCaffrey. He took that bad boy to the house. Shout out to Jawan Jennings. That was a perfect pass right in the bucket. I mean, you couldn't have led him any better than that to catch it and to get him in the end zone. That was just perfect play calling, perfect execution for San Francisco to get back to the NFC Championship game, coming into this game against the Seattle Seahawks, which is going to be a war. 49ers Seahawks are always wars, and I'm expecting a war. Kyle Shanahan just has to keep up this momentum and keep up the play calling. I feel like there's not I'll say out of all the coaches in the league, I say there are very few that can hang with Kyle Shanahan as far as play calling. Maybe Andy Reid, Sean McVay. I feel like that's like the first tier for me as far as like offensive play callers in terms of head coaches. When Kyle Shanahan is on his game, he's on another level play calling because he knows he finds the mismatches in the defense. He calls the right plays, and then when his offense is executing, they are hard to beat. So that game to me was just San Francisco coming up, not being scared of the moment, not being scared of the Philly crowd. They took it to them and they stole this dub, and now they get to go to Seattle with a chance for the NFC Championship game. Shout out to the 49ers, man. They earned that game and they won that game and they deserved it.
Yes, they did, man. Kyle Shanahan with his play calling, which is why I'm not surprised that they beat Philadelphia. And I think with their offensive struggles all throughout the offseason, it came on full display in the playoffs. The defense did everything they could, but the offense still, that was the one issue that they couldn't rectify. Big fella.
Hey, BRL. Hey, you know Jawan Jennings looked like 12 gauge out there, right? No, I'm talking about the way he was throwing the ball. Remember 12 gauge?
Oh, hey,
throw the ball like that.
I remember that way. That was a hell of a pass, bro.
Yeah,
he used to play quarterback back then.
Yeah,
Mohamed Sanu used to throw that ball just like Jawan Jennings did.
Mohamed Sanu in his career never. I think Mohamed Sanu had 100% completion percentage his entire career.
Hey, champ, you remember another good run? Remember another good thrower that didn't play quarterback?
Antoine Randall.
Yes, sir.
That and I was gonna say LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah,
he was good. He was good too.
Yeah. So he looked just like 12 gauge out there. I always say this when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers. Get the ball to Christian McCaffrey at least 20 times. You'll win the game. They got it to him 21 times. Look what happened. They won the game. And big shout out to DeMarcus Robinson, man. Big shout out to DeMarcus Robinson, man. Had a huge game, man. Look, let the 49ers be a lesson.
Kansas City again.
Yeah. Let the 49ers be a lesson to the rest of the league. This is what coaching and development gets you. This is what coaching and development gets you. And from my knowledge, they're saying Ricky Pearsall is going to be back if they, in fact, win this game. Him and Fred Warner, right? So
If they win this game, yes.
yeah,
Fred Warner
so
will be back. I know for
so
sure.
you better Seattle, you better come out here and take care of business. Because the last thing you need is for the 49ers to get healthy going down the stretch. The last thing you need. So look, big shout out to
Ricky
Kyle
Pearsall
Shanahan.
is listed as questionable.
Oh, he's listed as questionable. Okay, because I know him and Fred. I know he was listed as questionable, and Fred Warner was listed as out.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Warner's not playing this game. But that let this be a lesson to the rest of the league. Lost Debo to Washington this year, right? Brandon Ayuk signed that big old contract, ain't panning out. And matter of fact, he probably on his way out of San Francisco.
Especially with that situation off the field.
Yes. And Ricky Pearsall's been in and out of the lineup all year. Right? Okay. All of these players are developmental players that have just come out of nowhere, except for Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings had some things going on last year as well. He did a hell of a job last year, especially in the playoffs. But when you talk about development, this is what we're talking about. This is what the draft is all about. This is where scouting kicks in. To find you a Juwan Jennings, to find you a DeMarcus Robinson, to find you those guys who are going to make critical plays where your starters are out. Right now, given the circumstances, if the 49ers would have had a losing season, the world couldn't have blamed them. Nick Bosa, Markel Williams, from Columbus, Georgia, by the way. Not to mention, you got to think about this. There was questions about Christian McCaffrey coming into the season. George Kittle has been in and out of the lineup. Ricky Pearsall has been in and out of the lineup. Your star linebacker gets hurt. He's just not getting back. So, by all accounts, if they would have had a losing season this year, considering all of the losses that they had in the offseason, including Debo Samuel, losing Brandon Ayuk early in the season, and all of the other injuries that have compounded, if they would have had, let's say, an 8-9 record, the world couldn't have blamed them. But Kyle Shanahan, being the great coach that he is, he has his team on the verge of the NFC Championship. If you really want me to put this into a basketball comparison, look what happened with the Indiana Fever this year when they damn near lost their entire lineup.
Right.
That's equivalent to that. And even if they make it to the Super Bowl, even if they lose, this is one of the best coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. Not to mention your offensive line, Trent Williams. He was out for a few games. So for you to overcome all of these injuries in key positions says a lot about this team. A.J. Brown, trade him. Get him out of there quick. Get it done quick and get it done easily. And the thing is, if you haven't learned anything from any team, learn from the Buffalo Bills. Look how quick and look how far they elevated themselves as far as Josh Allen was concerned when he no longer had to feed Cardi B's boyfriend. He won the MVP the very next year. So there is a such thing as addition by subtraction. And not only that, you're not having to force feed him. You're able to go back there and give that ball a little bit more to James Cook. And you have another guy who's capable of being a number one receiver on the opposite side, that being Devonta Smith. You did all of that complete, and it wasn't just, look, let's make it clear. We act like these drops have just started happening. Remember that San Diego Chargers game? Drop one in the end zone.
Yeah, I remember the Monday Night Football game, and yeah, He was complaining, and the thing is, with these wide receivers, when you demand the ball and you don't get, and when you get your targets and when you drop, especially in a game of that magnitude like the playoffs, don't come crying and complaining. If you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at yourself.
Exactly. You can't ask for the damn ball and then drop it. It's like asking for a sandwich and not eating it. It's dumb.
So it depends on what type of sandwich that you're making.
I mean, grilled cheese will say, but that's besides the point. But
I just give me a peanut butter and jelly.
yeah, we'll go PB. It's just like
Grilled cheese and tomato soup. Oh, we in now.
yeah, we in there. But that's just like asking for a sandwich, saying you hungry and not eating it. You throw it in the trash. 3 critical drops in the fourth quarter, field position, and a potential touchdown. You out of there. They have to get some stability at this offensive coordinator position. And for those who don't know ball, I'm going to put my fat face in this camera. For those of you who are going to say, well, if everything has to line up in order for you to win football games, if you need the offensive coordinator, if you need to hit on that every single year, then you're not a real quarterback. Let me break something down to y'all. Look how many coordinators are in the playoffs this year. Look at them. And look how many teams went down as a result of them leaving their prospective team. Look at Detroit. No playoffs. Look at Baltimore. No playoffs. Look at the Tampa Bay Yucks. No playoffs. All of them lost their coordinator. No playoffs.
The coordinator's in the playoffs, though.
The coordinators are in the playoffs. Liam Cohen, he was in the playoffs.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, he on the verge of the NFC Championship game.
Mike McDonald's the number 1 seed in the NFC.
He's the number 1 seed in the NFC. So for those of you who are going to sit up there and say, well, if you have to hit on the court, look how quickly these great teams, especially Detroit, that's a prime example. Look how quickly a great team with all of the talent like Detroit, look how quickly and fast they fell without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn.
And also look at Dallas after 2023, because when they moved on from Dan Quinn, where did he end up going? Washington. And then the following year, they ended up going to the NFC Championship game.
Absolutely. So coordinators matter, especially on the offensive side of the ball, especially when you're changing them up every single year. And if you don't believe coordinators matter, look at Pittsburgh and how many coordinators they've went through in the past 5 years. Matt Canada is a prime example. Arthur Smith. Coordinators matter in this league, people. The main thing about Peyton Manning is he had the same coordinator his entire career. So coordinators and scheming does matter. Like I said, I hate to keep regurgitating the same information. Look how quick that the Detroit Lions went from being a Super Bowl contender just last year. The last 2 years previously, they were Super Bowl contenders. Then lose Ben Johnson, lose Aaron Glenn. Whoop, no playoffs. Look at Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Not only were they contending at one point, remember, at the beginning of the season, Baker was having an MVP caliber year.
He was.
Yeah. Then, shoot. Baltimore, it got bad quick without Mike McDonald. It got bad quick, yo. That defense went from being top in the league to not being able to stop a piece of cotton candy on the field. A piece of cotton candy could probably run for 1,000 yards on them at this point. Coordinators matter, people. I don't know who told y'all that, hey, I have to, the coordinator does matter. The coordinator does matter. Look at the Atlanta Falcons. We went through Kyle Shanahan, Steve Sarkisian. The minute after those two offensive minds left, guess what? We got somebody on down the line. It was never the same again. Coordinator and scheme do matter. So they have to get somebody in there that's going to be able to scheme who's going to be able to put them in position in order to make plays, who doesn't have a predictable offense. So yeah, coordinators do matter at this point. Look at the playoffs. So you got to look at everything. You got to stop. We got to stop as fans being so quick to hate on somebody and saying, "Oh yeah, if you need everything." No, organizations. In the great words of Jerry Krause, players and coaches alone do not win championships. Organizations win championships. Coordinators are part of that organization. So, and Philadelphia has been an organization committed to winning championships. So the coordinator, all the way down to the quarterback coach, matters. It matters. But you have to trade A.J. Brown with the quickness. I don't know who's going to be able to handle that.
You might as well trade him before the draft, big fella, because again, you don't want to wait post draft. Get something in return if you're Philadelphia. At this point, you're probably not going to get a first round pick for him. Maybe like a second, a third round pick for AJ at best. But champ, you talk about the coordinating, and I agree with you there, but it's still on the players. I mean, you talk about Dallas. You talk about how even though I understand Jerry Jones with the coordinators and everything else, but you've mentioned that they've had 6 Pro Bowlers this season, and still they didn't even make the playoffs. But at the same time, I've always told you that yeah, they've had Pro Bowlers, but I don't know why my voice. I don't know why is there like an echo in the background or something.
Hold on, let me check to see if it's my mic, man. Let me go out and come back in.
All right, cool. All right, now I can hear myself. Okay, it was Chance microphone all this time, man. Don't worry about it, big fella. You all good, man. But BRF, I think the problem I have with the Eagles is yes, it's coordinators. It's definitely have to do with the coordinators, but at the same time, I also look at these players. Especially, look, I know that they've had injuries with the offensive line, particularly with Lane Johnson and them. But AJ Brown, he can't be absolved either, especially with all that talking, all that complaining that you've had while you're on live streams playing Madden or whatever. That's still on you. As for San Francisco, you get an opportunity to get a rematch against the Seattle Seahawks. We're gonna wait and see how that goes. But we got to talk about another game on Sunday night. The Chargers versus the Patriots. Man, that Patriots defense went after Justin Herbert in that game. 6 times he was sacked in that game. As the big fella always says, quarterback cannot throw on his back. Quarterback cannot throw on his back. And unfortunately, that was the case with the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert has to get some blame, however, because this is now his 3rd time in the playoffs, and I had expectations for him to win one, and he didn't even perform well, he didn't even perform well nor win the game. Now, I can't blame this all on him because at the same time, you look at the offensive line, that's been the issue with the Chargers offense. But at the same time, your defense did its part, and Drake May, who may win the MVP, didn't play particularly well. So there was the batted pass that led to the interception. There was the fumble. Los Angeles had opportunities to capitalize, and they didn't. And I hate to say this with Justin Herbert at this point, regular season, he plays well. He's outside of Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, Allen. He's the type of guy you want in the regular season. But postseason, he folds like a lawn chair. And I'm afraid he's going to be labeled the James Harden of the NFL. Or he is another example of the Los Angeles Chargers. Excellent quarterback play, but not much to brag about as far as winning Super Bowls is concerned. Because you've had Dan Fouts, you had Drew Brees, you had Phillip Rivers, and now you have Justin Herbert. And I'm afraid that Justin Herbert is going to end up being the same example as those quarterbacks. Unless if Justin Herbert decides to say, you know what, as much as I love Los Angeles and the Chargers organization, I might as well get traded.
Shout out to Brandon from the block. He did say that.
I've been saying that as well, champ, too. I've been saying no. I have no, champ. I have. At some point in time, if you're Justin Herbert, considering the Spanos family, considering how cheap of an organization that they are before that they hire Jim Harbaugh, if I'm Justin Herbert, do I consider being traded?
No. If you're in a situation like, let's say, Joe Burrow is, where you have no protection, that's one thing.
Yeah,
You
but at the
had
same,
injuries.
I understand that, champ. I understand
You
the
had
injuries.
injuries
I
this year.
understand a lot of other issues with the Bengals organization, but with the Chargers, if I'm Justin Herbert, I probably have to consider being traded, man. I
I
would
don't understand why. It's like,
because I feel like
you,
I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna win with the Chargers organization. And the Chargers, to their credit, they've done their part. They got
yes.
Slater, they got Alt, they got Jim Harbaugh, the head coach. But to me, if I'm Justin Herbert, outside of those things, how am I gonna win? And again, Justin Herbert cannot be completely absolved. It's easy to look at Joe Burrow and say, well, the offensive line. Well, the organization with Mike Brown. But it is easier to say when you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase throwing you the football. It is easy that you are a native from Ohio. It is easy on top of that with the money. And with Justin Herbert, it's easy for you to stay in Los Angeles because LA, the market, your beautiful girlfriend, Jim Harbaugh, the head coach, the weapons that you have now, but still in all, if I continue to have these types of performances, I don't know whose microphone, like, because I could still hear myself. The
Oh,
echo.
I think that was me that time. I'm just trying to get straight.
Oh, okay. But I feel like if this is where Justin Herbert is going, champ, I feel like I might as well consider being traded. I understand for your reasons as well, but I would consider it if I'm Herbert because I'm gonna end up being another example of those types of quarterbacks, or dare I say, if I'm Justin Herbert, am I a playoff choker? Because that's what it appears.
Basically, the thing is, you can't blame. Look, there was a time with Justin Herbert that you could blame the organization. When they had Brandon Staley and wasn't drafting pretty well, you could blame them. They went out there and they got you the superstar coach that has proven that he can win, not just in the college level, but in the pro level. Made it to a national championship, made it to a Super Bowl. They got you the superstar coach. They went and signed you two of the best offensive linemen money drafted one and signed one of the best that money could buy. Got you a good running game. You have good receivers, not just on the outside, but a good slot receiver in the form of Ladd McConkey. Can get you 1,000 yards. That's the thing. And you have a pretty good decent defense out there as well. So the thing is, with Joe Burrow, I can understand with the chaos of the organization. I have no defense. I have no blocking. The only thing it is me and the Fantastic Three. It's me, Chase Brown, T. Higgins,
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. It's us trying to make something happen. It may be the tight end sometimes. But as far as you having a more complete team and the ownership doing everything they can to apply that blanket pressure to you, as far as giving you the superstar coach, giving you the offensive line, giving you receivers, signing Dobbs, signing J.K. Dobbins this year, who had a pretty decent year this year. Guess what? They did everything. This organization has done everything that they could for Justin Herbert. And the thing is, if it had not been for Joe Alt getting hurt, if it had not been for Slater getting hurt, this probably is another different game because they're not able to get that pressure on them. This year was a year of injuries. I could give Joe Burrow a pass if he said, look, y'all are choking on defense. Y'all didn't even get Ted Hendricks in here. His replacement, y'all couldn't even get him in here. You have not gotten me any offensive line play. Granted, you gave me my wide receivers, but guess what? I can't throw on my back. And I'm not so sure about my head coach at this moment. Lamar Jackson is not going anywhere. Not to mention, I got a hellified defense up there on my behind every single weekend just 100 miles from me in Cleveland. So if Joe Burrow was to request a trade like that because of the organization, I understand. With Justin Herbert, he can't make that argument. They've given you the offensive line. They've given you the running game. They've given you the receivers. Harbaugh is a hell of a defensive coach as well.
Yes, but at the same time, champ, I also look at the people in that division. I also look at the Denver Broncos, and even though that the Kansas City Chiefs take a huge step back, which no surprise because it's a Super Bowl hangover, it's not going to be too long for them to be falling on their ass. As for Herbert, I think, I'm sorry, champ, I would like to see him be traded elsewhere, even though that the Chargers have done its part, giving him the pieces around him, the offensive line. They gave him the offensive line. They gave him weapons, J.K. Dobbins. I still hear my microphone. I still the echo in the background still. But champ, they've done their homework and due diligence. Yes, I have to look at Justin Herbert and injuries, but I don't know if I'm Herbert and if I'm trying to capture or win a Super Bowl, I'm not going to capture one with the Chargers organization. I'm afraid though.
So we ducking the smoke
I'm afraid, yes. Because because champ, here's the thing. It's been now 6 years. It's enough body of work for us to say with Justin Herbert and the Chargers organization, this is as far as he can go. And I think with Justin Herbert, man, come postseason time, he folds like a lawn chair. Now the first playoff game, we give him a pass because of Brandon Staley. Still to this day, even though Trevor Lawrence came back and won that game, champ, you didn't look at it and say it was a great comeback by the Jacksonville Jaguars. You look at that on Brandon Staley. I disagree, and I think Trevor Lawrence did exactly what he could, as well as the Jaguars, to win that game. The second playoff game, however, I cannot defend Justin Herbert at all, including throwing 4 interceptions. One of those was a pick 6 in that game. This was the perfect example of quarterback cannot throw on his back. And he was sacked 6 times in that game. Did he make some good decisions? No. I just think overall, champ, after his time in Los Angeles, and again, Denver, they're not going away. Not anytime soon. Not with Sean Payton. Say what you want about Bo Nix, him being the weakest link, but just like Caleb Williams, Bo Nix gets it done.
In the fourth quarter, yeah.
And we got to wait with Kansas City to see whether Mahomes and them, they can come back. Because I think they know what they need to do to address some things. And plus, we got to wait and see with the Raiders.
Yeah. You can't duck the smoke, though, because the thing is...
Hey, look, they work for Kevin Durant.
Those players, look, but this is football. This is a
I know
whole
that
ball game. This is a whole nother ball game. And look, I'm going to just be real. In that situation, maybe. But in this one, you've been given, even in that one, you were given everything you could to succeed, even beforehand. You've been given that. Justin Herbert has been given. Everybody was talking about Brandon Staley. He wasn't a good coach. And the family said, okay, this guy's not a good coach. Let's go get us a superstar coach who has won in San Francisco, that has taken the team to a Super Bowl.
Yes, because they finally found one in Jim Harbaugh, and finally they stopped being so damn cheap for all this time.
And then they went and got him, and you saw the results the first year. Got you to the playoff, and you went out there and threw 4 interceptions.
Then what happens, champ, if they continuously, if we see more seasons of Justin Herbert going to the regular season and him coming up short in the playoffs, does it come to a point if I'm Herbert, you know what, I may have to consider a trade?
No. The thing is, you can't duck the smoke. Peyton Manning didn't duck the smoke when he was losing. It took him damn near 5 years in order to win his first playoff game. It took him damn near 5 years in order to win. He was constantly getting knocked out. And it wasn't just by the Patriots. He was getting knocked out. He got knocked out by the Jets 40-0 one year.
Yeah, I remember that year.
So, yeah, he got knocked out by the Tennessee Titans. And that was a difficult division. I said that was the poor man's version of the NFC South. They had McNair, Brunell, and Peyton Manning all in the same division. So it gets to a point when somebody has given you everything that you have needed. You have the thing is, I think that if they get AJ Brown, I think that would be the final piece that they would need in order for him to be able to take the top off, as you would BRF and say. I like to say air it out like a ceiling fan, but either or. Now that would be the final piece, but they have given you great offensive line play. He just got your best offense, your other offensive tackle just got hurt before the season started. Then Joe Alt got hurt. And then now your offensive line is depleted. Damn, what happened to PSP? Oh, okay. So your offensive line has been depleted. So I understand. I don't place all the blame on Justin Herbert for this game. I don't place all that blame on him. Plus, you got to take into consideration this. I don't think people have understood this. He's been hurt. That right hand, I think his left hand has been hurt the entire season. I understand that. But the thing is, you can't duck the smoke. The thing is, you have to go through who you need to go through. You have to go through it. This is a tough division, but so is the AFC, but so is the North. As far as the NFC North, so is the AFC West. You don't see those guys out there ducking the smoke. You can't duck the smoke just because, oh, this is hard. I don't think I'll have a chance in order to win this division. No, you're supposed to want to go through them. You have a good offensive line when they're healthy. Joe Alt is one of the top offensive linemen in the league. Slater is as well. Ladd McConkey, one of the best slot receivers in the league. J.K. Dobbins, they was able to get you running back play. They have a great defense out there. You can't just add, oh, yeah, I want to be traded. For what? So you could duck the smoke, because that's what it seems like you're doing. You ducking the smoke.
Yeah, because we waiting on we waiting on PSP to get back. But yeah, I was listening to both of y'all, and I gotta admit.
Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all.
That's all good.
No, you're good. But yeah, man, I heard you two fine gentlemen's I heard y'all's perspective, and I want to kind of interject in this because I do think that I got to be a little blunt about this as far as like Justin Herbert. If he was asked for a trade right now, it'd be a pump move. Not even gonna lie, it'd be a punk move. It really would. And the reason why I say it'd be a punk move if he asked for a trade is because you're the face of the franchise, and at the end of the day, the crazy thing about this game is I think the Patriots only had like 35 sacks in the regular season. They aren't a good team as far as pressuring the quarterback. They got 6 sacks on you. And that's not all your fault, but it's not all your fault because your interior linemen that were there did not play good football. But at the same time, though, there were plays that were there to be had that you didn't make. And I look at it from the standpoint of, if I'm Justin Herbert, I'm in no way, shape, or form asking to be traded from the standpoint of, at the end of the day, yeah, you got injuries and all this other stuff, but if you want to be looked at as the face of the franchise, if you want to be looked at as that guy, at some point you have to overcome the adversities you face, because a lot of teams are facing adversity coming into the playoffs. If you want to be looked at as a franchise guy, sometimes you gotta overcome that. You gotta, if you want to be the guy, everything's not going to be like laid out. Everything's not going to be perfect going to the playoffs. You know, you're going to have injuries. People aren't going to be healthy. Sometimes you got to rise above that. And honestly, at the end of the day, the offensive line didn't play that well, but you didn't play that well either. I mean,
he did not at all.
No, he didn't. He didn't play that well at all. Bad throws, like he wasn't making a lot of reads. He had plays to be made. There were some open throws that he missed during that game. So I don't know. Me personally, Justin Herbert to me has no leverage to ask for a trade, because at the end of the day, the Spanos family, like the LA Chargers have gotten you everything. Like last year they got you J.K. Dobbins. He went to Denver. You know what they did? They drafted Omarion Hampton in the second round out of North Carolina, and he was good. He missed some time with injury, but when he got back on the field, he's every bit of what he was advertised to be coming out of North Carolina. He's a good running back, and Quentin Johnson actually looked like a wide receiver this year. He played well this year.
Yeah,
Lad
when he's
McConkey,
not dropping the football.
yeah, like he wasn't in the news dropping the ball this year. He was in the news making some hellified catches this year. He balled out this year. This is clearly his best season as a pro. He played really well this year. Lad McConkey, he didn't put, I mean, he obviously didn't have the year he had last year. He put up 1,000 yards last year, but he had a good season. And I mean, and Keenan Allen is still one of the most reliable wide receivers in football. And then Oronde Gadsden the second just comes out of nowhere and blows up and becomes a really good tight end for you. I mean, you got weapons, and the defense was really good too on the other side of the ball. I mean, you still, I mean, yeah, you lost Joey Bosa to Buffalo. Khalil Mack still there. Derwin James Jr. is still there. I mean, you have talent on both sides of the ball. I just don't think Justin Herbert has leverage to ask for a trade because at the end of the day, we're doing this for you. We're trying to get you to the promised land, and we want you to be that piece to take us there. And honestly, I don't think he really has no leverage to ask for a trade because I honestly feel like it'd be a punk move, and I kind of agree with Chad.
I'm not
He
talking.
kind of would be dunking the smoke.
For the record, I'm saying not now, not now with the trade. But I do think, if this continuously happens, then if I'm Justin Herbert, let's say if I'm in year 10 or 11 in my NFL career, and if I still keep having the same kind of results, although I have a lot to prove as well in the playoffs, I have to consider being traded because guess what? I'm going to be viewed as an afterthought.
Well, I can see that, but at the same time, though, I mean, I don't. It's hard to, and it's also kind of
you can't and besides, you can't trade him right now because even though any team would love to have him, you just paid him already.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, you've done your homework by giving him all these talents, all these pieces. But with that being said, I'm going to be viewed as a choker. I'm going to be viewed as the James Harden of the NFL. I'm going to be another example because, champ, you stressed this. And is Justin Herbert going to be another example of the Chargers exemplary great quarterback play, but at the same time, nothing to brag or sneeze about? Is that's going to be Justin Herbert's legacy? And again, Justin Herbert coming out of college, I knew he was physically gifted and talented, had arm, but come clutch time though, when it comes to these types of situations, I just don't think that he can handle it. He is a top 6 quarterback in my opinion in the NFL. Only quarterbacks I have above him are Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, and Stafford. Those are the only quarterbacks. But I would have to consider it if I'm Justin Herbert, a trade. Not now, but in let's say 3 to 5 years. Because
this is what I'm gonna cut y'all, but I do want to interject because I hear where you're coming from. My only gripe with that is my only gripe with that is you're not gonna run into this every year, like the players around you might not necessarily show up, or your offensive line wasn't healthy, so you let a team that was tied for 25th in sacks get 6 on you. Like you're not always gonna run into situations like that where, I hate to say it, the built-in excuses. You're not always gonna run into that every year because the first year we kind of let you off the hook because Brandon Staley was your head coach. This year he's going to kind of get left off the hook again a little bit because of the offensive line play, but at the same time you have to combine that with how we played against Houston last postseason. And it's like you're not always going to have these runs with these excuses where things go wrong that kind of hinder you. That's why I say at the end of the day, if you're going to be the face of the franchise, you have to overcome this stuff a little bit. So even 2-3 years down the road, if you're running into these issues where you're not winning playoff games, if you're still not overcoming some of these issues, he's at the point in his career where we kind of have to count on Justin Herbert. If we're talking about him as a top 6 quarterback in the National Football League, he has to overcome some adversity when things aren't pristine and just perfect. He has to overcome this a little bit. Like I feel like the Patriots, even though that front seven was playing rock solid, there were plays to be had, and he did not make them. So even though I'm not going to hold it all on Justin Herbert, at the end of the day, you're still the face of the franchise, and you still have to make some of these plays. That's why even 2-3 years down the road, the only way I feel he has leverage to ask for a trade is if the team absolutely bottoms out. If they're still going 10, if they're still winning 10, 11, 12 games a year, putting themselves in pristine position to contend in the playoffs, and you're coming up short in that first playoff game, partly because of how you play, then it's kind of like, we kind of already labeling you a playoff choker to a certain extent. You got to be able to overcome. You got to be able to overcome some of this stuff eventually, because everybody coming in the playoffs hurt. You got to be able to come. You got to be able to overcome this at some point, because some of the greatest playoff performances, some of the greatest playoff runs, these teams weren't healthy. Some of these teams were hampered coming into the playoffs, and they were able to they overlooked it. They pushed forward. NFC Championship appearances, Super Bowl appearances, championships. We've seen it with some of the better runs. At some point, we can't always let him off the hook. He got to overcome it at some point, because if you can't overcome a little adversity when it comes time to get to the playoffs, you're never going to be trusted fully as a playoff quarterback.
Nope.
Because everything's got to be laid out for you in order to succeed, and it ain't always going to be like that. That's why I really can't let him off the hook, because
how much blame does he get for this game?
He gets. I mean, he still gets half the blame, because you got to be able to make some plays.
Touchdown.
Yeah, you got to make. You still. Have
they were only to score a field goal in that game, if I recall.
Yeah, the score ended up being 16-3. So it's not like it was like a blowout. It's not like it wasn't a winnable game, because there was plays that needed to be made. Like I said, I do put a good bit of that on the offensive line. Well, the guys that were still there, because they played horribly. And I mean, come on, you lose Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. Of course, your defensive line play is going to go down, because I mean their offensive line is going to go down, because they're good. They are really, really good. But you have to be able to overcome that a little bit if you want to be looked at as a franchise quarterback, as a guy I can lean on, as a guy I can trust, that's going to ultimately bring me to a Super Bowl in the near future. At some point, you have got to take that mantle, and at some point, I feel like most of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, at some point, they've had to backpack a squad.
And plus, we've seen other young quarterbacks that have actually played well. Bryce Young didn't even win the playoff game, but still played well enough. I mean, Caleb Williams was able to win. But the thing is, with Justin Herbert, I don't mind him demanding a trade in the years to come, because I feel like he can't be it for that guy in Los Angeles. And I just think with the Chargers organization, it's 6 years. It's not like his first or second year in the NFL. I think it's enough body of work so far to say this is as far as he can go with this team. Even if you bring in Jim Harbaugh, even if you give him weapons, I think in the years to come, the Chargers, they're going to be 10-7, 11-6, or 12-5. They're going to get some good players. They're going to make the playoffs. And Justin Herbert is not going to play that well. And I think with Herbert, a lot of this is on you heading into that game. Outside of Josh Allen, we'd agreed he's the second most pressure heading into the playoffs as far as players. Third, I believe y'all had Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence, even though he threw that interception, he didn't play all that bad in that game against Buffalo. So I can't necessarily put that all on Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. But Champ, I just don't see him being that guy for him with the Chargers. I think it's best if he goes elsewhere later in his career. Do I see him getting traded now? No, because of the acquisitions that they've made for him. But sooner or later, like in the next 3 to 5 years, I would have to consider trading him, or I would demand a trade if I'm Herbert in 3 to 5 years.
If you really think about every last one of these Chargers quarterbacks that we talked about, at their peak, they were loaded with Pro Bowlers. At Dan Fouts' peak, The best team that he probably ever played on in 1980, where he lost against the Los Angeles Raiders. He had 8 Pro Bowlers and 8 All Pros on his team. At the peak of the power of the Chargers, with Marty Schottenheimer, with Phillip Rivers, at one point they had 11 Pro Bowlers and 6 All Pros on their team. And that's just the starters that they had. Then you had a 3-headed monster at running back. That was before we came in and stole Michael Turner. Because at one point in 2006, they had LaDainian Thompson, Michael Turner, and Darius Forbes.
Mm-hmm. And then let's not forget the 2008 season in which there was Phillip Rivers, LT, Antonio Gates, I believe Russell Soul, the late great Vincent Jackson. And they won 12-4, and the following year after that 08 season, when they won a wild card playoff game against the Colts and then lost in the divisional round to the Steelers, they went to the divisional round and unfortunately they lost to the New York Jets.
Yeah.
So with all those things, is it really Herbert or is it really more on the Chargers organization? Because you've often brought it up on my pod.
Yeah, the thing is, look, it's only so much you can blame the organization. Now, were they failing him at first?
Yes.
Because of Brandon Staley.
Well, not just because of Brandon Staley, but at the same time, who put him in that position to be the head coach? The Spanos family.
Yeah.
I can't say the Spanos family is sabotaging or putting Justin Herbert in a bad position now. So is it really on Herbert? I said yes, which is why after that loss, he's going to be viewed as a choker. Yeah. Until he plays well in the playoffs and wins a playoff game, unfortunately for Justin Herbert, he's going to be viewed as a playoff choker.
Yeah.
The first time.
Go ahead. My bad.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And the thing is with Justin Herbert, we're not asking him to win a Super Bowl like Lamar, like Joe, like Josh Allen. We're not asking him to win. We're asking you to win a darn playoff game. The thing is with Josh Allen, he's up under the most pressure to win a Super Bowl. We're not asking Justin Herbert to do that. We're asking you to go out there and at least play comparable to win a playoff game. We're not asking you to go out there and win a Super Bowl. That's why I said the playoff pressure, he was under the second most player because he has not won a playoff game. We're only expecting him to at least win a playoff game. Prove to us that top 5 status that we put you at and win a playoff game and don't go out there and throw your team out of the game. He's not under that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow-esque pressure as of yet. We just want him to win a playoff game. And if you're ducking smoke in that division after they've given you everything that you needed to succeed, how are you going to perceive? Where are you going to go going forward where you don't have that smoke? Because every team that can possibly get you, you're going to have to go through some smoke. If you get traded to Minnesota, you have to go through, at least temporarily, you have to go through Jordan Love and you have to go through Jared Goff and Dan Campbell. You have to go through at least those guys, at least for right now.
If he gets traded to Minnesota, he's going to have to deal with Green Bay, Chicago, and Detroit. As long as Dan Campbell doesn't.
Right now.
Well, the only less thing he has to worry about is Dan Campbell shooting himself in the foot, because that's the only reason why Detroit. I mean, look, had they not fell apart with Dan Campbell deciding to take all them risks, all them gambles on them 4th downs, because we've seen that before, especially the NFC Championship game against the 49ers.
Right.
But again, I don't see him demanding a trade now, champ. But in the years to come, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's like the marriage. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, everything. There are other great things that the marriage has. But at the same time, it's not working out the way I imagined or hope. And I think for Herbert in years 3 to 5 more years, I would not be surprised at all if they demand if he wants to be traded, or that the Chargers may want to trade him, because we've done our part to help him, and for some reason he can't get the job done.
See, that's what I think would happen.
I think the only reason why Brandon is saying that, because obviously, why does Brandon love Justin Herbert so much?
Because he went to Oregon.
Yeah, after all, he Oregon dude. And in fairness, champ, I said it before. They should have traded. Justin Herbert should have demanded the trade. Now, if you told me if I didn't have Jim Harbaugh as the head coach, and if I didn't have these pieces like with J.K. Dobbins, only issue with J.K. Dobbins has been durability issues. When healthy, he's a difference maker. We saw what he was in Baltimore. Quentin Johnson, for someone who was known for drops, has stepped it up. Has improved his play. I will give him that. But I just don't see Justin Herbert being the franchise quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers. Maybe somewhere else. I just think it has more to do with I think it's both. Justin Herbert's inability come postseason time, but at the same time, champ, what's inevitable. The Chargers' history of having great quarterback play or good quarterback play, having all these Pro Bowlers, and what is it that you have to show for?
The fact that we even still talk about the Chargers, that team that
And they're loaded.
number. I'm talking about that. Well, I can't remember what year that was. Philip Rivers
was
number one team in offense, number one team in defense, and
rest his soul, Marty Schottenheimer. That was Philip Rivers' first year as a starter. I think Philip even made the Pro Bowl that year.
Made the Pro Bowl that year.
And LT, he was running away with the league MVP, broke Sean Alexander's record the year before for the most total touchdowns. And then they lost to the New England Patriots. And by the way, Sean Merriman, oh man, he was balling that year. Sean Merriman, especially when he did that dance that he did, I loved.
Yeah, lights out. Matter of fact, he has a light. The reason why he does that, he has the light switch on his
He's got it tattooed on his forearm.
That's why he does the lights out. So yeah, they call it. He was huge for a linebacker, man. That dude was like 6'5", 270. I thought he was a damn defensive lineman when I first saw him, because I was like, ain't no way that's a linebacker. But that dude was huge. I'll never forget when he played your Washington Commanders back when they was up under another name that we wouldn't mention. Y'all had a lineman named Chris Samuels. And I remember they went out there for a screen, and Chris Samuels kind of squared up, and he knocked Chris Samuels. I mean, he flew. It was like the Shredder. It was like the Shredder hitting one of the Ninja Turtles at that point. That was crazy.
And Chris Samuels was not no scrub. Chris Samuels was one of the greatest offensive linemen that Washington franchise has ever had. And he
lifted him up off his feet. So and then not to mention, look, Donnie Edwards, Quentin Jammer,
yes,
Florence,
yes,
Igor. Remember Big Igor? Big Igor was no joke. Jamal Castile. That was, man. That look. San Diego is gonna do. San Diego. Los Angeles is gonna do one thing and one thing only. They're gonna get you some talent. They're gonna get you some talent. So, and they're gonna get you the right coaching. The rest is up to you.
I
didn't win because guess what? He was not good enough in order to beat the New England Patriots or the Indianapolis Colts. Don Coryell and Dan Fouts, they were never good enough in order to beat the Raiders or any of the teams in the AFC. At one point, with Don Coryell and Dan Fouts, remember, Dan Pastorini and Earl Campbell was out doing a divisional playoff game. So your starting quarterback on your opposing team and your main weapon, that being Earl Campbell, was out. And you still could not beat that team.
I just think, champ, at this point in time, after 6 years with Justin Herbert, it's fair to say this is who he is. And I think, and don't be surprised, within 3 to 5 years, he demands a trade or the team just wants to move on from him. Because it's not like they haven't done their part to help him. They have. I don't be surprised he be traded, champ. And again, champ, you look at the old school football, but you have to understand, big fella, times are changing with the social media and stuff like that. It wouldn't surprise me if some player gets traded just like that. It won't surprise me. Justin Herbert, his with the Chargers, he's proven excellent quarterback. I have him top 6 in the NFL. A quarterback you can count on in the regular season, but come postseason time, which is why in a couple of years, I wouldn't be surprised if he demands a trade or something happens. outside of Los Angeles and Jim Harbaugh and that talent, what is other reasons why I would want to be with the Chargers organization? Gotta ask yourself that. But let's talk about the Bills and Jaguars real quick, champ. You talked about let James cook. Nah, they didn't cook. He didn't cook in that game. After all, it was against the number one rushing defense in the NFL in the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Josh Allen showed you once again, hey, put that cape on his back. World champ cannot say anything. World champ cannot complain about handing it to Josh Allen. Josh Allen was Superman in that game. Champ cannot complain about them asking Josh Allen to put the Superman cape on his back, and he did it. As for the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence is going to get some criticism, some blame. I mean, you did have the 2 interceptions, particularly one late in the game, but overall, I didn't think Trevor Lawrence didn't play that bad. I think there were opportunities. I think there were some missed opportunities the Jaguars had. The 4th and 2 that it was later overturned and was ruled short. I thought that also hurt Jacksonville as well. The passing defense, they had a hard time stopping the passing defense with Buffalo. But I think champ, when I look at the Bills and Jaguars game, they didn't mind letting Josh Allen cook in that game. If that was a time, if that was an opportunity for Josh Allen to take over, that was it. James Cook, I mean, again, no shame. It was the number one rushing defense in the NFL. It was the number one rushing defense in the NFL. There's no shame in that. Jaguars secondary, however, and some of them plays Josh Allen was using with his legs, especially with that QB sneak.
That tush push. We're gonna call that the Allen push.
How the hell
the first
did they make that work from
yards on the damn tush push?
Yeah, how the hell they make that work from that far out? Is like,
is it fair to say that the Bills' offensive line doesn't get enough credit? And after all, Josh Allen is about 6'5", 250.
Yeah, that's
very fair to say the Bills' offensive line don't get the credit they deserve.
Yeah, there's not outside of Josh Allen and James Cook, there's not that other one Super Bowl, that one superstar player that you can really look at and say that's a superstar. Not to mention, Coleman, he out there messing up, getting, missing. Look at BRF face. But he out there.
I do like Dalton Kincaid though.
Yeah,
Dalton Kincaid is an Dalton Kincaid is an X factor as well as Khalil Shakir. But Keon Coleman, I mean, they drafted him out of Florida State because of the catch radius, the size, the freakish ability. But so far, it hasn't panned out. As for the Jaguars, like I said, Trevor Lawrence didn't play all that bad. There was the missed opportunity on 4th and 2 that was later overturned, and it went to Buffalo's ball. Cam Little, he did miss a field goal. Trevor Lawrence did hit a big-time throw, and they put the Jaguars in enough position to hit a field goal, but unfortunately, he missed it. Cam Little missed it, which is shocking because doesn't he have like the longest field goal?
He hit a 69-yarder this year.
Yeah, I mean, when you get across the damn 50-yard line, he hit range.
Yes, so, him and Brandon Aubrey. When it comes to long distance field goals, they should make those types of ones in their sleep. But Josh Allen stepped up when it mattered the most, and I think they're going to have a hard time going up against the Broncos defense. That's a story for another day. But I think Josh Allen did every bit that he could. What's your thoughts on that game?
Josh Allen, man. Like I said, Josh Allen, people might disagree with me. He may be more talented. He's more talented and more athletic. But as far as the mentality and the person who I compare him to, he's the modern-day John Elway, man. To carry this team on his back. James Cook was not cooking this game. We thought that James Cook, because he led the league in rushing, he was going to cook a good meal, and he only made potted meat this game. So, unfortunately, but, Josh Allen was able to put the team on his back once again and do a lot of great things, man. A 10-yard tush push was the running game and was the passing game once again. I don't think that that's sustainable. I think that eventually James is going to have to cook. But for you to put this team, not to mention people don't acknowledge this, Second half of the season, the Jacksonville Jaguars was first as far as scoring defense as well.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, for you to face the number one team in rushing, as far as defense is concerned, and the number one scheme in scoring defense, and you to put that team on your back and just said, "Let's go," that's a sort of amazing, man. I got to tip your hat to Josh Allen. Look, I'm not glazing when I say this. He's one of those guys that you look at it and say he deserves to win a Super Bowl. But in the great words of Master Chief Billy Sunday from Men of Honor, played by Cuba Gooding Jr., he said, since when does deserving anything mean anything? He deserves to win one. But since when does deserving anything mean anything?
Well, not just him. That fan base.
Yes.
You cannot find a better fan base.
No.
Classier fan base.
Yes.
Than Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
Because they were there for Lamar Jackson. They were also there for Tua Tagovailoa when he had that concussion situation. And let's not forget last year with Mark Andrews when he had that drop catch.
Yeah. They was the first one to help. But that fan base, and they definitely deserve to win one. And I'm hoping and I'm picking that they go and beat Denver. But Josh Allen, man, the Bills lucked out when they got him, man. They lucked out, man. And look, wouldn't it be quite ironic?
Yeah, I was gonna bring this up as well too.
Yeah,
the same team that passed on Josh Allen.
Yeah, because hey, look, this is why I call him the New Jersey Genius, because I be trying to watch every documentary on the screen. First person who called me about the John Elway documentary was PSP and told me about that and the interview with Club Shay Shay. So yeah, I mean, it would be ironic if he goes into Denver against this high-powered, just stacked ass defense they have, who is reminiscent of the no-fly zone back in 2015. And he go in there and light their behinds up like a Christmas tree. So yeah, that would be very, very, like we always say, great minds think alike. But Josh Allen, man, there's a lot. Look, hell of a job on carrying that team, man. James Cook wasn't cooking. You put the cape on your back, and you was able to get it done. Jacksonville, got to make plays in critical situations. It doesn't come down to just one play; it's a multitude of plays. You had every chance in the world to stop Josh Allen, not just through the air, but on the ground. So had a lot of opportunities. You didn't capitalize on them. So you got to come back next year and, see if you can come back and do it, because I believe that, hey, once the last thing you want is for two things to happen. That receiving core for Houston to get back to full speed, and for CJ Stroud to get off offensive line. Because once those two things happen.
Well, not just that, champ. We also forget in Indianapolis. Imagine if they get some healthy players, particularly the quarterback. Because Daniel Jones, remember, before the injury, they were 8-2. And they fell apart. And imagine, because what Tennessee, shout out to our guy Mike Patton, who is a freelance writer, covers the Tennessee Titans. They have over $100 million in cap space, and we don't know who they're going to be as a head coach. Don't be surprised if Tennessee takes a step up. Not as far as playoffs or winning the AFC South is concerned. But when I look at Jacksonville, man, tough loss for y'all. It was really a tough loss for you, and it was at home. Yeah. It was at home. You had an opportunity to win that game. Trevor Lawrence, like I said, champ, even though he threw the late interception, I told you, I said it before, I don't think there's going to be that much criticism of him, and there should be. There should be much more criticism. Just like if we're going to criticize Justin Herbert, we should do the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. After all, he was the number one overall pick. and
Yeah.
he was projected to be the second coming of Andrew Luck. But as I always tell you, champ, it seems to me that the media or the public, they have like a bias. They have a bias when it comes to certain players. And they feel like when it's certain players like Trevor Lawrence, for instance, he gets a pass. Even though in the second half of the season, he did turn it around, but still in all,
I mean, your offense was good. This was your best season, probably to date. And your defense was good. So you really had no excuse. And you're playing at home. So what excuse does he really have at this point? I mean, I know we're going to say it all doesn't come down to just one play, but you did throw the critical interception in order to lose the game. That's just being real. Because did we say the same thing about Lamar Jackson last year? Had he not thrown that interception prior to the Mark Andrews pass in the first half? Didn't we say in the first half, if he hadn't thrown that interception or fumbled that ball, it would have been a gift for game? Yes, we did. Oops. So,
I
yeah.
think we're,
So if
I
you throw
think,
one,
I
when you're
think
having a
was,
decent game,
yeah.
you throw one at the last minute in order to lose, yes, you deserve a hell of a lot of credit. Yes, your offense, not just your offense was good, your defense was damn good. In a division,
especially with stopping the run. They had the number one rushing defense in the NFL. You had Josh Hines, Allen, Trayvon Walker, who was the number one overall pick at that point. At one point, I think he was labeled, some even went as far as labeling him a bust, but no, he could actually play. Now, is he Aiden Hutchinson, one of the preeminent pass rushers in the NFL? No. But as in Jacksonville, I think he's a very solid player. It's just that, and it's disappointing. And it's also your first year with the head coach, Liam Cohen. So imagine just Trevor Lawrence with an offensive-minded type of guy. And by the way, I love Lynn Jones. For those who may not know, that was the reporter who got a lot of backlash and criticism from some in the media and the public for the comments she said about Liam Cohen. My response to that is, look, of all the things you can get mad at a reporter, I thought it was ridiculous in my personal opinion, because why is this such a big deal? Now, look, usually media journalists, we're supposed to be objective. We're not supposed to be like stuff like that, but I thought it was way overblown in my opinion.
what's so ironic about that is the main proponent of that hate, the main two people that were the proponent of that hate were Jamel Hill and LaShawn McCoy. I am so disappointed in both of you.
Wait a minute. Jamel Hill?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for, and the thing is, and like I said last week, I get fined later for this, by the way. What's so funny about that is Matt Barnes immediately went on his platform and blasted both their asses. So,
and rightfully so.
Not to mention Jeff Pearlman. Y'all don't know who Jeff Pearlman is.
Oh, yeah. You remember, he used to wrote the book, The Gunslinger, on Brett Favre.
Yes. Not to mention boys will be boys as far as the Cowboys is concerned. So, so he went on there and basically blasted all three of them. And I think the most surprising out of that was Jamel Hill and LaShawn McCoy, especially Jamel Hill, considering
she is a black journalist and she's a black woman. So why would Sean McCoy? I don't expect much from Sean McCoy. Champ. I'm sorry. He's the NFL version of Kendrick Perkins. He's the NFL version of Kendrick Perkins. I told you before of Kendrick Perkins. He's the type of dude, when it comes to basketball takes, it's kind of like somebody burning my breakfast.
You know what? The first thing I think about when you say Kendrick Perkins, well, I have ibuprofen when you can have a perk.
I'm like, I saw that clip and I said,
Perkins, I'm sorry, but I blame you for Ellen Duncan being gone after that.
I saw that clip and I said, I know good in the hell well they ain't let this man say this on the L, bro.
Well, they allow him to say a lot of bullshit on the air, but what else do we expect?
L Duncan probably wanted to slap him right then and there. She probably would have if she could have.
Why do you think she decided to leave ESPN and go to
That's why I
Netflix?
said I blame
A
him
multitude of
for
reasons.
leaving ESPN.
Mhm.
Why have an ibuprofen? Then leaned all the way back like he sees where you can have a perk. Like, really, Kendrick Perkins? You look like you used to run numbers back in the day. But
Mhm.
I digress.
Wah,
But
wah.
just being real. But
Oh gosh.
that, like I said, Matt Barnes came out. He's had a lot to say about it. I mean, as well as what's the other reporter on Fox? Carson. He had a lot to say about it. Said, yeah, is it normal? No. Should we be outraged about it? No. There was a lot of writers, and but like I said, the main proponents of that was Jamel Hill, and unfortunately, LaShawn McCoy. Which, yeah, that guy.
Boy, he done.
Hey, look,
He earned that shady nickname for that one.
hey, like we used to say back in the army, there's a fine line between being a dumb man and that guy. Don't be that guy. Unfortunately, Shady McCoy in this situation, you had to be that guy. So, I mean, and the lady been writing. Mrs. Lynn has been
40
Lynn
years.
Jones, yeah, and she's a freelance writer for one of the local newspapers. So I mean, she's been covering this team pretty much damn near its entirety of its existence.
Yeah,
So for
you
them
saw
to have,
You saw Cam Newton's video.
oh yeah, I saw a little bit of it, but
Hey, look, Cam couldn't have said it any better. I mean, no, I mean Cam with his podcast, the way he was talking about Lynn Jones, it's easy to understand why Cam could relate. She from the South, so is Cam, so is y'all. And the thing is, ain't nothing. Look, Southern hospitality. That's, I mean, as you always say, big fella, two things we can do: we can damn sure cook, we can damn sure entertain and make you laugh.
yeah, man.
And with Lynn Jones, she was just being very generous. She was just trying to keep the team, the head coach, the heads up. I mean, to other journalists, they may not look at it like that because they're like, no, we're not supposed to be cheerleaders for them. But look, of all the things that she said, you gonna get mad at her for that? It's not like she asked him personal questions about his personal life or anything. She was, I mean, I just thought it was way overblown. And for Jamel Hill, when you mentioned Jamel Hill, champ, I gotta be honest with you, I am astounded. Shady McCoy, I'm not. But Jamel Hill, given the fact that you are a black woman as well, someone who's been in journalism for as long as she is, I gotta say I am terribly disappointed in Jamel Hill.
When Jason Whitlock say something
No.
that makes sense, something fucking wrong.
No. Don't pay. I am not paying attention to that dumbass, trifling ass Jason Whitlock.
Like I said, with something. Look, I'm gonna just be real. Jason Whitlock being the most sanest person in the room and being the voice of reason, it's kind of like somebody coming into my dorm, coming into my barracks room when I was in damn the army, telling me not to do something crazy that weekend. It wasn't going to happen. When I say, hey man, we probably need to sit down this weekend, probably need to sit down. But yeah, that was just.
Even a blind squirrel will find his nut eventually.
A dead clock is
right twice a day.
But yeah, it's just. You criticizing a reporter, a freelance reporter, for something like that. And the thing is, another reporter said the same thing to Kevin Stefanski weeks prior. So you're always going to have that one reporter that comes out and make a statement. And look, reporters ask people all the time what a victory or a loss means to them. Remember, the late, great Kobe Bryant. Remember, one of the reporters asked him, hey, I know what it means to you as a team standpoint to win 5 titles, but what does it mean to you from a personal standpoint? You know what the first thing he said? Got one more than Shaq.
You could take that to the bank.
So,
that was one of the lines of the year.
Yeah, so one of these guys, so you're always going to have that one reporter that's personable with you, is just going to bring out the human side of you. That's just gonna remove the competitor and the warrior spirit and dig into your humanity. So there was nothing wrong with that, man. Like I said, for Jamel Hill to be, she later apologized. I'll give her credit for that. But for her to either come out in the first place and say something, and then Jeff Pearlman, and like I said, for Matt Barnes to come out on his platform, big ups to him for blasting each and every last one of them and calling them out is a good thing, man. So keep doing what y'all doing at All the Smoke, man. Shout out to All the Smoke podcast, by the way.
Exactly.
BRF, what are your thoughts on the Bills Jaguars game?
I thought it was a really good game. Let me tell you something. I love wild card weekend. Period. I thought it was an amazing weekend of football, and this game was like this was the tone. This was the tone setter as far as like the one of the tone setters as far as like the Saturday Sunday games. So I when we were predicting the games, I pretty much said this game's going to come down to Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion, which quarterback was going to step up and make the plays, and that's why I picked Buffalo, because Josh Allen with his playoff pedigree, being there, having some of the better postseason performances against Patrick Mahomes of all people. I mean, we all remember that. I believe it was the AFC Championship game where they just back and forth, back and forth, back and
Divisional
forth,
round 2021,
yeah, divisional round 2021. Josh Allen, I mean, shout out to Gabriel Davis for making a bag just off of that one game alone. Like that game was just that was like ceiling peak Josh Allen. So like we've seen it from him before, and I had this feeling like Jacksonville drawing the Buffalo matchup. I just had this feeling like this is a game. This is the game made for Josh Allen. You didn't win the division. You're a 6 seed going on the road. This was a game made for him to really kind of remind people, why I'm in best quarterback in football conversations. And I mean, to go 28-35, 273 yards. I mean, that was just a sheer, that's how you do it. Like when we were talking about Justin Herbert in that previous segment, as far as like overcoming adversity, everything not being laid out for you perfectly to get the job done, Josh Allen showed you why he is the face of the Buffalo Bills. That's the game. That's a game you expect out of your franchise quarterback. He went and he showed up. I mean, and he was perfect. I mean, big runs, big throws. I mean, just those deep balls to Brandon Cooks. I'm talking about and those were needed plays. And he went out and he was making them. And he really he reminded people, even though he's got this pressure on him to win a Super Bowl this year. He reminded people why he has that kind of pressure on him because he's that talented of a quarterback, and because he is reliable in big game situations when it matters. He's reliable. He's going to step up. And like I said, he's not perfect. He hasn't made all the plays, but I knew in a game like this, I was going to be able to trust him. And just what he's done in previous playoff performances, I knew I was going to be able to trust him more. And it showed up on the stat line, and it showed up on the tape. I mean, it's just that's what you want out of your franchise quarterback, to not be scared of the moment. In a situation like that, you're the 6 seed facing adversity against the 3 seed who won the AFC South and was one of the hottest teams in football, and to go into their building and really kind of play damn near flawless football from the quarterback position. I mean, that's what you expect out of your franchise quarterback in big time moments like this. So we have to shout out Josh Allen for this. But I will say this though, Liam Cohen, I think he's going to be around for years to come. He really kind of showed himself this year going into Jacksonville, that environment with the history that's preceded him, bad as a team as they were, to win what 13-4, like to go 13-4, when the AFC South your first year as a head coach. Shout out to them. I mean, they stepped up second half of the year. I mean, they were rolling. Like I was like,
finished top 10 in team defense. They were 8th in the NFL in team defense, and they had the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL and scoring defense in the NFL. I'm looking it up right now. They were 8th.
I mean, that's when a situation like that's building a new culture, that's building confidence in your team, and it took it with them, and it built week after week after week. That game though was like, looking at that game and analyzing how I felt like that game was going to go. Travis Etienne to me was the man for that game for Jacksonville. Like, because we know how bad Buffalo's rush defense is. I figured, Travis Etienne's going to have a field day. You're going to feed him. He's going to have about 125 to 100, in between 125 and 150 total yards. And he's going to be one of the main reasons that, they won this game and they kind of got away from him. But yet he was still popping them. I mean, he scored a touchdown in that game. He was still doing work. I mean, it was like, I was kind of surprised he didn't get as many touches as I thought he was going to get, because I felt like ultimately for Jacksonville to win this game, it was going to have to be the Travis Etienne show, and I kind of called it like before the game even started. I felt like it was going to be Travis Etienne's game. You had to take advantage of the Buffalo rush defense, and I felt like they didn't. Looking at and going back and looking at that game, they didn't do that enough. They were so reliant on Trevor Lawrence to make the plays, they forgot Travis Etienne had a comeback season. And they just didn't feed him like they should have and take advantage of that rush defense. Because even though that defense did make plays and they did get takeaways, that rush defense was still not good. They gave up over 150 total yards on the ground to Jacksonville. They were still not good. But it's just that Travis Etienne really should have led that charge more, and he should have had about 25 to 30 touches in that game, regardless of whether it's rushing or receiving. They should have fed him more. But Josh Allen did what Josh Allen does. I mean, he ultimately took advantage of the situation, and I just knew he was going to make more plays than Trevor Lawrence in this game. I mean, that's what you expect a guy of his stature, former MVP, been to an AFC Championship game. I mean, he knows how to win in these situations, and this is what I expected. But honestly, at the end of the day, this was a really, really good game. I was happy this was a good game because I was worried because I just thought Buffalo was going to take advantage of the fact that they were playoff tested. I thought it was going to be a worse game than that. But honestly, man, shout out to Jacksonville. They weren't scared at the moment either. It just came down to Josh Allen, made more plays than Trevor Lawrence, and ultimately that's what led to the Buffalo Bills getting this win, and they're heading to Denver.
Absolutely. Let's get into our picks, playoff picks. Buffalo at Denver. Now keep in mind, champ. You said they're gonna give let James Cook. You do realize, for those who may not know, Denver has the number 2 rushing defense in the NFL.
Francis want Buffalo. Buffalo wins this game by 3.
BRF.
I said it before the Jacksonville game. I'm going to say it again before the Denver game. This is Josh Allen right here. Games like this are what he's made for. I trust him more than Bo Nix in a playoff setting to make the necessary plays to get the job done. Buffalo gets to the AFC Championship game. They beat Denver.
Buffalo's going to win, but they're going to have a hell of a hard time stopping that run with RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins.
I don't think this will be as high scoring of a game as the Buffalo-Jacksonville game was. I'll be surprised if
I don't see a high scoring BRF, but I do see Buffalo's rushing defense probably giving around 140, 150 yards rushing.
Denver's going to get theirs, but honestly, would it shock me if either team scored 20 in this game? I'm not going to lie.
I say 13. I say 13-10.
Yeah, it would shock me if either team got 20.
13-10. That's going to be the score.
I'll say 16-13. And if they're going to get to that point, it's going to be by field goals. I just think, again, with Josh Allen, he doesn't need to be all the way Superman. Just take care of the football. James Cook, I don't expect him to cook in this game, champ, because, again, they have the number 2 rushing defense in the NFL. Patrick Surtain, he going to play. And let's not discount Josh Allen's legs, because that's the other thing. But with Bo Nix at the same time, if we talk about how clutch Caleb Williams is, let's not disregard Bo Nix. He doesn't have to be pretty. Just be good. Complimentary football. And again, he's been to the playoffs before. And again, interesting thing about it, these two teams are facing off each other. For those who may not know, Denver lost to Buffalo last year at Buffalo. So Denver kind of has a little advantage because I don't think they're the favorites in this game. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me go check it up on the ESPN scorecard right now just to be sure, just to be precise. If you look at the scoreboard, the prediction, I'm sorry, Denver is a 1.5 point favorite.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
But I don't think,
Denver deserves to be favored.
but I don't think anyone would be surprised if Buffalo beats Denver.
No.
Because not too many people are sold or are convinced on Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is a good enough quarterback. And by the way, what do you expect? He is replacing Peyton Manning. And not only that, look at all the other quarterbacks the Elway and the Denver Broncos had. Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler, who at one point went to Houston, then came back to Denver again. Huge mistake on the Houston Texans' part by giving him that contract. Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Joe Flacco. So it was a laundry list of quarterbacks before you ultimately found that one. So let's pump the brakes on Bo Nix, but I do see Buffalo win this one 16-13.
And one quick point before we move on, I think Buffalo. I think they're gonna help if they're gonna throw the ball. They gotta take advantage of who I think the X factor for me is whichever wide receiver gets the Riley Moss matchup because I feel like he's the weak link of that secondary right now.
Do you know how many pass interferences he gives up, though?
Yeah, exactly. I think whichever wide receiver gets the Riley Moss matchup, I feel like it's the X factor. If I'm Buffalo, if you ever wanted a Keon Coleman wake up game, I put him on Riley Moss and just see what happens. Just give him a shot against Riley Moss and go from there.
All right. We're going to talk about this one right here. I'm sorry, not that one. 49ers versus Seahawks. Seattle is a 7.5 point favorite. Too high?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. I mean, hey, look, say what we want about Brock Purdy. I mean, the guy plays well in playoff settings. He does. And we saw Sam Darnold in his one playoff game last year for Minnesota against the LA Rams. And the LA Rams had him feeling like he was a New York Jets quarterback playing against New England Patriots and seeing ghosts. That's how the Rams had him feeling last year. Um, but with that being said, though, yeah, 7.5 is too high. This is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, but it's going to be a close game. I feel like this for me is my favorite game of the entire weekend. This is my favorite game of the weekend. I mean, you have the divisional matchup. I mean, they're already familiar with each other. The 49ers and the Seahawks. It's one of the better rivalries in the NFC, if not all the NFL, because when they get together, I mean, there's history. There's playoff. There's big time regular season history, as we already saw. Week 18 decide the division and the number one seed. There's playoff history. They've played each other in conference championship games before. There is history. There is a lineage of history with these two teams. With that being said, though, as I'm looking at this game, I'm thinking about the playoffs. I think San Francisco turning the Road Warriors. I'm picking the 49ers to win this game. I'm going to go along the lines of 34-31.
High scoring.
Yeah, I said honestly, even with the Seattle Seahawks defense, I feel like when there's familiarity involved, you know how to attack said defense. So I see San Francisco doing a lot of misdirection. I see them trying to really confuse that pass rush, and I think they try to let Brock Purdy, in the words of my big homie, air it out like a ceiling fan.
Not only that, unfortunately for San Francisco, again, George Kittle will be out for the rest of the postseason due to the Achilles tendon. I am interested to see the matchup between Lenore and Jackson Smith-Njigba because
Mm-hmm.
zero catches Jackson Smith-Njigba has had on Lenore. Zero. But I'm gonna go with San Francisco. I think San Francisco gets their revenge. I think Robert Saleh is going to game plan and get after Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold may commit some turnovers. Key is stopping Kenneth Walker. I'm going to go 23-17 San Fran. Big fella.
Wop, wop, wop. Bang, bang. Niner gang. Shout out to my pops. Everybody know he's a 49ers fan. There's always a house divided with me and him growing up. Because, I think I told BRF this story. I remember I told him at one point that Jamal Anderson was better than Garrison Hurst. Yeah.
Wow.
I was a homer to the quarterback in them days.
I was a
homer to the core. I said, Jamal Anderson better than Garrison
Yes,
Hurst.
you were.
Yeah, but shout out to my pops, man. Big 49ers.
Boy, I would have loved to visit your house back in the day, boy. That was Hot Take Central, boy.
That was me. Hey man, look, you blame my late great uncle, man. He was a huge Atlanta Falcons fan, so was my grandmother. So I followed in their footsteps. But
I can't. Hey,
it was
you want to know what you want to know as a football fan, the biggest hot take I've ever had, even though it didn't come to fruition. I thought it was going to. Would you like to hear the biggest hot take I've ever had as a football fan?
Yeah,
I thought Michael Vick was going to win a Super Bowl before Peyton Manning.
That would have been a fair assessment.
I mean, at the time, it looked like it though, because I liked the Falcons' trajectory at the time and how they were building that squad, especially after getting to the NFC Championship game. But then, it was the regression in the passing game, and then ultimately 2007. So I mean, that's probably one of my biggest hot takes. I seriously thought Michael Vick was going to beat Peyton Manning to a championship.
Yeah, I mean, plus we went on the road and did something nobody could do in the history of Green Bay. Go out there and just, that used to be where Green Bay was. You feared going to Green Bay, and Atlanta broke that streak. So that was a fair assessment. And because he won his first 2 playoff games before Peyton did, so it's a fair assessment. But I'll never forget. Can you imagine back in the 90s, man? Your mom a Cowboys fan, your dad a 49ers fan. You the only Falcons fan in the damn house. That was funny on Sunday.
I'm telling you, man, you had to hear about the Cowboys championships, the 49ers championships, and you sitting there in the middle like, damn.
Yeah, so if we was getting out behind smash. But bang bang, not a game. Shout out to Sweetie, by the way. So hey man, look, man, I like Sweetie. So
shout out. Sweetie,
But I love that song that she made. What's that song? Both of them. Yeah, I like that song, bro.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, both of them. I like the video too. So that was pretty good. So,
that's the one that uses the that's the song that used the Freak League sample, ain't it?
No, it's put Shawty Wanna Ride. Oh shit.
It's the Shawty Wanna Ride sample. That's it.
Oh shit. 2 PSPs.
Technical difficulties. I can't control that.
I'll be an ass, but I'm mature. But
if you were being an ass, you would be the Vince Russo to Jim Cornette, or vice versa.
But basically, but
and they wouldn't know how to book a show either. But that's another conversation.
But you got the Niners.
Yeah, shout out to Sweetie at E40.
Mm-hmm. Texans at Patriots. New England is a 3-point favorite. I'm actually going to go with Houston because of their defense. Unfortunately for Houston, Nico Collins, their top wide receiver, due to the concussion, he will not play.
Oh, that's a big loss.
But I think that Houston's defense, I want to see what CJ Stroud can do. If he can try to run the ball, and if CJ, it depends, man. He did not play overall well in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, the interception, the fumbles. If it were not for the Texans' defense bailing him out, Houston would have lost, and CJ would rightfully so deserve the blame. I'm hoping that CJ Stroud finally bounces back, and the Houston Texans at least get to their first AFC Championship appearance. They have not been to an AFC Championship game since they moved back to Houston, I think in 2002. Yeah. And they've had chances. Their biggest one by far was the 24-point choke job against the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember when Patrick Mahomes threw like 4 touchdowns in the first quarter for the Chiefs to have a 4-point lead, and then the rest was history.
Mm.
This could be the Chiefs' best opportunity to get to a conference championship game because Drake May, second year, first time in the playoffs. This will be his second playoff game. I do believe he will play better. And again, CJ Stroud, we counting on you, man. And this is an opportunity to pressure on you because that contract coming up. I have Houston because of their defense.
Oh man, the last time a sophomore quarterback played for the New England Patriots, do y'all know what happened?
They won the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And look, I hate to bust everybody's bubble, but in Gillette, much like Tuscaloosa back during the Saban era, you go there to get your ass whooped. That's just being real. They are 20-4 in Gillette Stadium. I'm going to say that again. They are 20-4 at Gillette Stadium.
Come postseason.
Overall playoff record since 1994. Overall playoff record, they are 24-5. They have a .828 winning percentage. You go to Gillette to freeze your ass off and get your ass whooped. And that's exactly what Houston is going there to do. And the thing is, look, you can best believe Mike Vrabel got some tricks up his sleeve for CJ Stroud. That offensive line is not at a premium at this point. They're going to force a hell of a lot of turnovers, and Drake May is going to end up going to the AFC Championship. So I'm taking the New England Patriots.
Do you trust them against this defense?
Absolutely.
Because it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but the thing is, they have the advantage. They have the weather advantage when it comes to them today. They have the weather advantage. They're used to playing in the cold. Houston's not necessarily used to playing in that cold weather and playing in an environment like Gillette Stadium. They're a dome team, and yeah, they're not used to playing in that type of weather. So they're going to have the advantage as far as the weather is concerned and the home field advantage. So, and like I said, it's Gillette. You go there to get whooped, whether it be by Drew Bledsoe, whether it be by Tom Brady, or in this case, Drake May. So you come there to get whooped.
Yeah, but at the same time, champ, it's not going to be the same because that was with Belichick and Brady. This time, this is the New England Patriots with Mike Vrabel. And I believe Mike Vrabel can get the job done, but don't be surprised.
Hey, let's not forget, although the Houston Texans have a great defense at this point in time, let's not forget let us not forget that the Patriots have a hell of a defense as well. Let's not forget that. As a matter of fact, as I'm doing my research right about now, one moment. Un momento, por favor.
They're ninth. I can help you with the defense research, big fella.
Yeah.
They're ninth in passing defense.
Exactly.
The New England Patriots. And if you look at team defense, they're fourth. Only the Seahawks, Texans, and Broncos have a better team defense than them. Rushing defense in the NFL, New England is sixth. Houston is fourth. And as far as scoring defense in the NFL, New England is fourth. Houston is second.
Yes. And the eye test for that offense, I love the Texans defense. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, Darryl Stingley, all of those guys. But the thing is this. CJ Stroud in that offense is going to make some mistakes early in the game. And unlike Pittsburgh, the Patriots offense is going to be able to generate a lot of heat going and capitalize when they do make those mistakes. CJ Stroud is going to throw an interception.
Or fumble.
They're going to fumble the ball. And they're going to turn it over at the most inopportunistic time. Mark my words, whether it be in the first half or the second half. And they are going to generate at least, that being the New England Patriots, 1 or 2 touchdowns off of there, if not a touchdown and a field goal. And that is going to be the difference in this game. Because guess what? If the Pittsburgh Steelers had the offense, just had a little bit of offense. Remember when they turned the ball over? They turned the ball over in their own red zone. Not
Yes.
once, but twice.
Yes, and
It's just
big man,
Steelers
the
didn't have
defensive
capability.
tackle, he ran it all the way for a touchdown.
Yeah, it's just that the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't have the capability in order to capitalize although they was able to intercept the ball and get the ball and get turnovers. But the New England Patriots, not only do they have the home field advantage, but they have the offensive capability to run the score up and air it out like a ceiling fan. Not to mention, look, once they get ahead, you can best believe they're going to run that ball. Travion Henderson is coming to his own. So there's a lot more potential, not just with the defense, but the offense. And you're playing in Gillette.
I think, but also, big fella, you also have to take into account and consideration too. New England's offense didn't play that well, and imagine if the Chargers' offensive line were healthy. Now, again, Houston, their offensive line ain't much to brag about either, but anything could happen. And after all, this is his second year. This is the first year in the playoffs, and besides, this is not the Belichick, this is not the Brady era. So times have changed. Now, the good thing is I do believe Christian Gonzalez, who I wanted out of the draft, he'll play in that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think also, too, Drake May, don't be surprised if he commits a turnover as well, too, champ. Because if you looked at that game overall against that Chargers defense, and the Chargers have a solid defense, imagine what he's going to deal with against that Texans defense.
That's exactly why I'm picking the Houston Texans to win this game. Yeah, even if the Pittsburgh Steelers had a little bit of offense, they still would have got their head whooped. That's just how good the Houston defense was. That's just how good the Houston defense was. Like, this is one thing I like to talk about when it comes to defensive football. It doesn't matter whether you're a dome team. It doesn't matter whether you're a team that plays outside. Defense travels. It travels. I don't care if you play dome. I don't care if you play outside. Defense travels. And you saw that with Houston going to cold Pittsburgh and doing what they did to them. Granted, the Steelers' offense isn't as good as the Patriots' offense, but at the end of the day, it's about braving the elements. It's about going out there, doing your thing. And Houston did that. I mean, like 100, they held Pittsburgh to 175 total yards of offense. 175 yards, 4 sacks, 2 touchdowns. Like, I mean, just domination. And the Chargers have a really good defense. They're not on the level of the Houston Texans defense. And the Patriots only put up 16 on the Chargers, and the Chargers was getting really good pass rush on that Patriots offensive line. So imagine seeing Will Anderson Jr. and then you got Danielle Hunter as the bookends, but then you got a guy like D'Amico Autry just running it from the defensive tackle position, and then you got Al Shahir at linebacker, and then you got the secondary, who I feel is the best secondary in football, with Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter and Jalen Petrie. I mean, I feel like that's the thing right there. The Patriots do have a capable passing game. They ain't seen a secondary like that. They ain't seen a secondary like this in a little minute. Because I mean, every single person on the Houston Texans secondary, all of them, all starters had at least 4 interceptions. So that just shows you how good they are as far as ball skills, as far as being able to, just being able to cover and understanding routes and being able to make the plays when they need to make them. So I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, but I am picking Houston. I just feel like right now their defense is playing at an all-time level right now. I'm looking at a score like 19-16. I don't think it's going to be a real high-scoring game. Right now, I think the Houston defense is a unit that I trust with my heart of hearts right now, that can go any stadium, anywhere, does not matter, and they're going to show up, they're going to ball out. I'm picking Houston 19-16 to win this game.
Last one, Rams at Bears. And the Rams, believe it or not, they are a 4.5 point favorite. I think that's a little too high. And it's snowing in Chi-Town. And you mentioned Matthew Stafford record in rain and snow, 1-9.
This game is going to come down to the Chicago Bears' ability to pressure Matthew Stafford and be able to get turnovers. I feel like they can. I feel like they will win this game if they're able to force turnovers because that's the common theme in all the Rams losses. Matthew Stafford's turning the ball over or getting sacked multiple times. You're getting their offense off the field, and it's. I feel like it's just a common theme with Matthew Stafford and the Rams this season. With that being said, though,
I got Chicago.
Oh man.
Because don't be surprised, Matthew Stafford and the offense commits a turnover or two. Bears are number one as far as takeaways, and they will capitalize off of it.
It's Chicago. Shout out to Cheeseheads. Cheesehead Pause. Bear down. Shout out to those guys, man. Great gentlemen. Big Chicago Bears fans. Bear down, man. So shout out to them. So it's Chicago.
I love Caleb Williams' response to Lil Wayne though after.
Yeah, had to. But
this game is hard for me to pick. This game is hard for me to pick.
I think Caleb Williams is going to go to. I think they're going to go to their first NFC championship since Jay Cutler.
2010.
Since 2010, and depending on who he is, they have a good chance to go to the bowl. Not saying they're going to win it; they have a good chance to go. But that 1-9 record in the cold, that don't give me a lot of faith, especially when it's snowing. You get one of them warm weather teams out there in that cold, and they fold up like an accordion. So,
I know, but even with the Chicago Bears being number one in takeaways, they give up a lot of yards, and we know what the Rams do when it comes to as far as Sean McVay, his play calling, being able to attack regardless of environment. He's able to get his no matter what the situation is. I'm going to be the lone one here. I am actually going to go with the Rams to win this game. I feel like if there was ever a game for Sean McVay to really kind of remind people of his worth to this franchise, this is one of those games in a very hostile environment going to Chicago, the new Soldier Field. This is where a coach like Sean McVay makes his bread right here. Like in a situation like this where you should not be able to put up points. It's going to snow. It's going to be cold. I feel like I said, he's one of the best play callers in the league. He's one of the best play callers we've seen in a long time. And I feel like he's going to come up with a good enough scheme in order to kind of cause enough traction in order to get this done. I'm going to go 24-21 Rams here.
Bears 31, Rams 26.
Interesting fact. Do y'all know the last time that the Rams played Chicago in Chicago when it was snowing?
That's a good question.
January 12th, 1986.
The year when they won the Super Bowl?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Eric Dickerson was the running back.
What? 40 years. Wow.
Damn.
All right, guys, we got to keep this real short and quick because I got to do some editing with some stuff. What were your thoughts on Mike Tomlin stepping down from Pittsburgh? BRF, you go first.
I wasn't surprised at all. I kind of felt like it was coming, and you could kind of see it. You could kind of see the burnout a little bit with Mike Tomlin. I'm not really surprised he stepped down here. I mean, he was probably hearing the chatter. He was probably hearing the noise, and I think it was. And like it's one like I think his situation is kind of similar to John Harbaugh's. It was like, after a while, you're there for a really long time. The same voice and gets a little stale. It's time for a change. It's time to go in a different direction. And I think it was that time. So if I'm Mike Tomlin, I take a year off. I kind of reassess things. I kind of rejuvenate, get on TV. You know what I'm saying? Go to Fox, CBS, go to one of these news outlets as far as sports, and just or shoot, do ESPN for a year. Just get away, do something for a year, rejuvenate, recharge the batteries, and then come back next year, see where your opportunities lie. I don't think he's definitely not done coaching. I think he's only like 53 years old, so he's still a young guy for that matter. He's not done. I don't think he's done with coaching. So but yeah, I take a year off. I wasn't surprised with the whole situation. Honestly, I think Pittsburgh in reality fired him, but I think with everything he's given to the franchise, they kind of wanted to, kind of like give him that ability to, like, yeah, he stepped down. I think this was a firing, but I think this was ultimately Pittsburgh giving Mike Tomlin the utmost respect and what he's done for that franchise. So yeah, this whole situation was not surprising. I was expecting if Pittsburgh really didn't do anything this year. They made the playoffs, they've won 10 games, but I was expecting him to step down. So I wasn't really surprised at the situation at all.
I think this is actually a good thing for him to take some time to reflect. He's actually had his daughter's gymnastics thing in all the way in Georgia.
Yes,
she's a Georgia Bulldog herself. So I think for Mike Tomlin, he had to be let go. It's time for a change in Pittsburgh. Nobody was more happy than Kieran, our guy Kieran.
Shout out to Kieran.
I was in the middle of a project at work when I was listening to that. The only thing I heard was, what the hell is wrong with Kieran? He was just that happy. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. I'll keep it short and sweet. See, in the great words of Bruce Lee, we'll keep it in 60 seconds. What's not surprised at all? I mean, you kind of knew it was coming. It comes a time where you cycle. And look, let's just be real. The last few years, this team has not been very, very good. He's been literally dragging this team with patchwork, with tape and rubber cement, and he's been dragging them to the playoffs and dragging them to winning season. And for all of you Falcons fans, when I said, think about bringing Mike Tomlin to the NFC South, he's won 10 games the past 3 years. If he wins 10 games the past 3 years in the NFC South, then he wins the division title in each and every last one of those seasons. So please be quiet when Atlanta Falcons fans say bring Mike Tomlin to Atlanta, because he at least wins the division titles these last 3 years if his record is the same as it was in Pittsburgh. So please be quiet. And not surprised, he will be a Hall of Fame coach. And for people who will say, well, he's overrated, let me break something down to you to a science. Let me break it all the way down, and then I'm going to say this in closing. Do y'all know 2 legendary coaches who are in the Hall of Fame right about now? Their names are Don Coryell and George Allen. Do you know how many playoff wins that George Allen has? He has 2 playoff wins. He's 2-7 in the playoffs. And ironically, those 2 playoff wins came in the same year in 1972 on his way to face the 72 Dolphins. So George Allen, who is considered a legendary coach who's in the Hall of Fame, has only 2 playoff wins. He's in the Hall of Fame. You know how many playoff wins Don Coryell has? 3. So all this talk about him having a bad playoff record, and he doesn't have a coach. The coaching staff, no, he's won every single year. Only 2 other coaches have gone through their football careers in the NFL, and their record has not been scathing. That is George Allen, John Madden, and Mike Tomlin. Out of all 3 of those guys, only 2 of them have Super Bowl rings, and that is John Madden and Mike Tomlin. And like I said, George Allen is in the Hall of Fame, and he only has 2 playoff wins. And he's considered one of the best coaches in NFL history, and he only has 2 playoff games.
Who said that, champ? Falcons fans?
No. What are you talking about?
You're talking about the people who complaining that Mike Tomlin's overrated.
Look. James Harrison said that. James Harrison, who played for Mike Tomlin, he said that Mike Tomlin didn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't understand that, but that's a story for another day. But I don't see him going to Atlanta, champ. I
I
see
don't
him
see
in
him going
within.
because he's still under contract. But if they
No, no,
willing to
no,
give up
no, not just
something, then
that.
yeah,
Not just that. My friend from work told me he wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Tampa
that's fair.
after
That's what
ne-
gave him his start.
after all, he did win a championship there with the Buccaneers in '02 when he had Derek Brooks, Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp, Ray Buckingham. That defense back in '02. And for the record, folks, that was Tony Dungy's defense. That's not John Gruden's defense. So for those who want to say that John Gruden's a coach, a damn good coach because he won a Super Bowl, yeah, because of who brought forth that team, who inherited, who created the culture there in Tampa. That was Tony Dungy. So come on
Exactly.
now.
And it's evident John Gruden ain't did nothing since. At least, and don't compare him to Mike Tomlin either, because at least Mike Tomlin, after he won the Super Bowl, he went to at least two. He went to at least two AFC championships. John Gruden didn't even win a playoff game after that, so that ain't no comparison. In the great words of the clip, don't compare him to him because he wasn't that.
All right, fellas, let's get into Babyface Heel. We gotta try to keep this real short and quick because I gotta keep up with all this editing and stuff. Now, for those who may not know what Babyface Heel means in wrestling terminology, Babyface, good guy, heel, bad guy, tweener in between. AJ Brown.
Heel by far a disruptor of the team. Your team is winning Super Bowls. You're still complaining. And when you complain, you drop the ball. Not just in the playoffs, but you drop the ball in regular season games. You come up with all of these theatricalities. You reading books like you LeBron James on the sideline. You over here complaining online, playing Madden. You are a heel. You are a team disruptor. Usually, when you're on a team, winning cures all. Winning cures all. Okay, I'm not getting the ball, but as long as we're winning, I can handle it. That's the thing. Even when it's the same way at work, all of us got jobs every day. If another person takes a significant role, okay, as long as the team is winning, I can handle it. I don't have to be the focal point of it. Let's go ahead. Let's get it done the easy way. If we have to run Saquon to a Super Bowl, let's run it. If the ball goes through me, so be it. But as long as we're winning. Michael Irvin didn't necessarily get the ball as many times as he wanted. You think he would have came out and said anything about Troy? No. That's the thing. He never said anything about Troy. And sometimes they was. And the thing is, Emmitt Smith was the focal point of the offense. He could have had a hell of a lot more touchdowns had he played with a guy like Dan Marino. That's the thing. This whole situation between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts was T.O. and Donovan McNabb all over again.
AJ's worse than T.O. because Donovan, sorry to cut you off, champ. T.O., I felt like too many times he was used as the scapegoat.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, T.O. recalled Donovan telling him, shut the F up.
Yeah.
To which an offensive lineman or a former player confirmed it. Donovan drinking the night before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Donovan not speaking for T.O.'s defense when it came to a contract situation, but spoke for Brian Westbrook.
Yeah. But it was that situation all over again, except this one has to fall on the sword of A.J. Brown. Like I said, you're winning. That's the thing. Be a good teammate. Be quiet. Be a good teammate. Yeah, I mean, you are fresh off of a Super Bowl. Complaining about what you got, but Charlotte, look what you had. You was rotten down there in Tennessee. You was rotten. Because you weren't going anywhere fast without Derrick Henry and Mike Vrabel down there. You were rotten down there. And you would have been rotten to this day had they not traded for you. You come to a good team, guess what? You come to a superb team, Super Bowl team. This roster is a Super Bowl roster. And you come in and, the first year, okay, then you got to be disruptive. And the thing is, another thing I noticed in closing, PSP brought this up. You notice When he got 100 yards a game,
Oh
that
yeah.
3-game stretch, he didn't say a word, and they lost all 3 of them. He didn't say a word. But hey, go off. You're going to go from a Super Bowl team to go to one of these little rebuild teams? Good luck with that.
BRF?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, AJ, yeah, like he's a heel. Like, just you shouldn't, as a receiver of his caliber, going to a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, you should be fitting right in and just enjoy the ride. And I mean, it's not like you weren't putting up numbers when you got there. Hell, you were in top 3 wide receiver conversation your time in Philadelphia. But like it's a shame too, because he's a talented player, but it was like the fact that the winning didn't offset the attitude and the negativity and the toxicity. It didn't offset none of the winning, didn't offset none of that. And that's why I think AJ Brown right now is a heel, because you went from being in one of the best situations in the league, playing for the best GM in football, to now you're probably going to get traded. And I mean, Philadelphia controls your hand, so they'll probably trade you wherever they want to trade you, wherever they can think they're going to get the best deal. So I mean, you really kind of, I don't, not necessarily fumbling the bag, but you fumbling the situation. I mean, why would you? How would you be upset to be in a situation like the Philadelphia Eagles with all that talent and just I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. I can be upset with that. So yeah, AJ Brown he's definitely a heel. Like you disrupting a you disrupting a franchise like this just because you're mad you ain't getting the ball, but yet you have a Super Bowl ring and you had a good shot to get another one this year. But a lot of the reason why that team lost was your play. It was your lack of productivity in the fourth quarter with those drops. So yeah, AJ Brown's a heel for me.
I agree with AJ Brown Hill. I mean, as I mentioned before, champ, I think he should be traded. You mentioned the stat that I've mentioned numerous times. When AJ got 100 yards receiving or more, he wasn't complaining. But when he wasn't, eh. Michael Irvin.
Hmm.
Little
Wow.
baby face, man. And I love Michael Irvin, man. I love Michael Irvin, dude. Michael Irvin is that dude. Look, enthusiasm. Yes, Michael Irvin was a diva receiver, but Troy Aikman himself will tell you he was the best teammate I ever had, and that's saying something considering who he played with. He said every single day Michael Irvin would show up, and he be in the shake joint until like 2 in the morning. But every time he stepped on that field, it was something special. Him and Troy Aikman was so tight that he went to his trial. He told everybody to stay away, but Troy Aikman said, "No, man, I'm coming to your trial just to check on you, make sure you're good." I never forget Peter King, respected author of the old school Sports Illustrated back when
Sports
we were.
Illustrated, yeah, used to work on NFL, inside the NFL, yeah.
Yeah, I never forget that he used to come in there. I remember they interviewed him at one of the little shake joints one time, and I never forget he came in there and sat down and said, "This is my office." So I never forget that. That was something crazy. But as far as being a teammate was concerned, although Michael Irvin had his troubles off the field, he was able to get it fixed. Although he had that little incident in the locker room, you know what I'm talking about. He had that little incident in the locker room. As far as being a teammate overall was concerned, he was he was good. Troy always saying high praise for him, as well as Jimmy Johnson. And when he got in trouble, when he was about to get a job at Fox as a sports commentator, and he got caught with that little paraphernalia that he got caught with, Pat Summerall, the late great Pat Summerall, was willing to put his reputation on the line so that he could give Michael Irvin a job. So that just goes to show you how much people loved him and adored him. And plus, man, I want my friends and my guys to be as excited about my success as Michael Irvin is about the U success. On the sideline, all just it just plus he's hilarious, man. Y'all remember that interview with that he did on Club Shay Shay about the check? You know, is this your check?
Let's not forget him sweating at ESPN when they were at Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I never forget when he said, "I put my check right there." So when they came in, is this your check? So that was, I mean, it's comical, man. It's comical. And look, for all the bravado, bro, for all of the divaism, for all of the show, for all of the playmaker, for all that personality, he never disrupted the team. You didn't see Michael Irvin acting like AJ Brown. You didn't see Michael Irvin acting like Antonio Brown. You didn't see him acting like Terrell Owens. You didn't see him acting like none of those guys. And he was probably the biggest diva out of every last one. Michael Irvin used to celebrate every single game. And I'm not talking about one of them. I mean, I'm not talking about one of them clean celebrations. I'm talking about the Miami celebrations, if you get what I'm saying. So I watched, look, like I said, I used to watch Cowboys every Sunday. Mom's a Cowboys fan. So look, he never disrupted the team. That's the thing. He's the biggest diva wide receiver, arguably in history. But you know what? He never disrupted that locker room. He never came out and said anything bad about his quarterback. He never blasted his teammates. Jimmy Johnson had high praise in order to say for him. He won on every single level. And guess what, man? When you're not a team disruptor and you plant good seeds outside of the things that you do, people remember that more so than the acts that you did. People remember that so much more. When you are better as a person than you were back in the early 90s, people remember that. Yes, he was arrogant. Yes, he was. When you think about him and how he was in the locker room versus the guys that we see today, think about how he was as the Cowboys receiver, although he was a big diva, versus how Keyshawn was in the locker room, versus how Antonio Brown was in the locker room, versus how T.O. was, versus how A.J. Brown is right about now, versus how a lot of different receivers are. Notice how different that was. Diva receiver, but yet I'm not disrupting the team. It's about winning these damn Super Bowls. It's about putting these rings on my finger. So as long as we win it, we can handle it. And that's the attitude that you have to admire when it came to Michael Irvin. Plus, man, look, you want somebody that enthusiastic about the team, and he could think he could run through a wall. It's just unfortunately his career got cut short, but he's still in the Hall of Fame, man. One of the best receivers of all time. And look, think about this. They ran the ball with Emmett touched the ball at least 400 times a season. Let that sink in. Both running and receiving. So Emmett touched the ball at least 400 times a season. So that means Michael was getting limited touches, limited targets. So can you imagine if he was playing in today's game where they was airing it out like a Steelers fan and they was targeting him 20 times a game?
But also, just not just with Michael Irvin, champ, also with Troy Aikman, because Irvin and Aikman get a bad rap because they were able to win championships, but they weren't putting up astronomical numbers. Imagine if they were playing in today's game.
Yeah. What's so funny about that the Triplets was one of the most famous trios arguably in sports history, yet none of them get any respect. When you ask people about Troy Aikman, and I've been on record saying it, they'll tell you he's overrated. When you ask them about Michael Irvin, they'll tell you he's not even top 10. And when you ask them about Emmitt Smith, who's the damn all-time leading rusher, they'll say he's overrated because he had a good damn offensive line. So it's quite ironic that a dynasty that won 3 Super Bowls, but yet their 3 main players that was able to get them there, they're considered overrated, which I don't understand at all.
Recency bias. You know that, champ.
Yeah.
You can't argue that, but I'm gonna say tweener. Even with the listen, I say tweener because the controversies he's had, the little white powder substance, all the other issues. Well, I mean, am I lying? Am I
Nope.
lying? Am I lying? We can't disregard. We can't ignore that. But I'm glad that Michael Irvin was able to overcome it. Clearly he had some issues off the field during his time with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm gonna say tweener. I do like him, but damn, he is annoying as hell with him how he talks about his Cowboys. No, he's the epitome of what most Cowboy fans are. That's why I like listening to Troy Aikman, because Troy Aikman, when he says something, Troy's gonna call it for what it is. He loves the Dallas Cowboys, but he is objective. He is not blinded by the Dallas Cowboys' love. Michael Irvin, on the other hand, BRF.
Michael Irvin, on the other hand, if he could wear star contacts, he would, like in a heartbeat. But yeah, I'm with PSP on this one. I think he's a tweener. But because you got some people that aren't really like following them for like the controversies and the trouble that he used to get in, whether it was like Miami or the Dallas Cowboys. But at the same time, when you look at Michael Irvin, the man, I mean, he's basically like a motivational speaker everywhere he goes. But then you add to the fact that he was a really, really good wide receiver, one of the best to ever do it. I mean, you can't. You have to weigh all that, and it's like you have those. Like I said, with me, a tweener is like you. It's like the polarizing ones. You're going to have those on one side that don't really like him, but then you have those on the other side that ride with him, that mess with him because it's Michael Irvin. I mean, you can say what you want to about the man. When you hear Michael Irvin, you instantly think 1990s, the dynasty, the Cowboys. You think of one of the greatest teams ever assembled by any, in the NFL history, one of the greatest teams ever assembled. So you really have to give that man his flowers and give him a respect for everything he did for that franchise and playing for only one franchise because the neck injury ended his career before he wanted to. So I mean, who knows? Like if he had got a chance to go to a team that could that throw the ball out more, that give him a lot more targets, and maybe his numbers could have kind of would have grown a little bit. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But you have to look at the controversy. I'm on the side that ride with Mike Irvin. I mean, hearing him talk sometimes on the air, when he get all up in it like this because he's trying to motivate his team. I mean, you know how he do. You know how he do a thing. You know how he does it. So, but yeah, he's a tweener. But what I'm saying, I ride with Mike Irvin. Mike Irvin got my respect. He was one of my favorite receivers growing up. So. He's a tweener, man. I got number love for Mike Irvin.
All right, this is a comedian. I think he's a babyface. Martin Lawrence, the great Martin Lawrence.
Oh boy, that's easy.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy. That's easy as hell. I mean, that's by far the easiest one you have. Martin Lawrence, man, that's
the host of Def Comedy Jam, how he was able to open the floor for a lot of comedians, including Rest of the Soul, Bernie Mac, Mike Epps, Chris Tucker, and of course, he had the hot show, Martin.
Yeah.
And the reason why it resonates with us, meaning us, the black community, because again, he portrayed a lot of characters that we could relate to.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, Shanae.
Oh my god.
Ooh, I say Joe Roman in the house. Roscoe, Mama Payne, Otis. And then, of course, he and Pam going back and forth whenever Martin makes fun of Pam for looking like a dude, or Pam making fun of Martin's height.
Or making fun of his ears.
Let's not forget Tommy ain't got no job.
I think we never figured out what job he worked that whole entire.
We had a little theory about what he used to do, but that's another subject off the air.
I think Tisha Campbell released it. I think he was like a daycare counselor.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like a guidance counselor, but we had our own little theories about what he was. but, but look, Martin Lawrence in the 90s, what Eddie Murphy was to the 80s.
Yes.
Let's just be real. Eddie Murphy was the king of comedy in the 80s, as far as black comedians was concerned. Martin Lawrence was the king in the 90s, because if you really look at the 80s, every time you looked on TV, you saw Eddie Murphy, whether it was, the stand-up special, whether it was Coming to America, whether it was one of the movies, Beverly Hills Cop, etc. When you look at the 90s, the main comedian that you saw everywhere was Martin Lawrence. Not just, not just for Def Comedy Jam. He had his stand-up special there as well.
You so crazy.
You So Crazy. Then on top of that, the Bad Boy saga. That started a cultural phenomenon. And then you had Blue Street. You had a lot of Martin Lawrence did a lot
Big
of great
Mama's
movies.
House.
Big Mama's House, yeah. So Eddie Murphy was the king of the 80s, but Martin Lawrence was definitely the king of the 90s when it came to comedy. So it was just crazy. It was amazing. So they got to give props to Martin Lawrence, man.
Shout out to
Oh,
Dwayne on
yes.
this one.
A
What about the
thin
movie
line between
love and hate?
Hey,
Him,
man.
Regina King, Lynn Whitfield, of course, rest her soul, the late great Della Harris.
Lynn Whitfield is 72 years old.
And she still look evil.
And she still look fine.
She still look evil and fine as hell. But
Yeah, that woman is 72, bro.
But
And
she still
fine
look
as hell.
bad.
Her and Angela Bassett.
Well,
Hey,
there's
man.
let's not forget Sama
Yeah.
and J Lo.
Yeah. I'm taking
Well,
Angela
J-Lo
over all of
collect-
them,
well,
man.
well,
I'm taking
well,
Angela
well,
over
J-
all
well,
of
J-
them,
J-
man.
J- well, J-Lo collecting engagement rings like Infinity Stones. So
She gonna marry PSP next.
Well,
that's gonna be she'll be able to snap the
I
finger
don't.
then.
I
I just
don't.
hope we
thi-
don't
I
all
don't. I don't
disappear.
think. I don't think my mama would approve that, but I have no problem with it.
Oh, never mind.
Why?
His mom,
Then he signed that
because his
big
mama will be
contract.
Thanos and be snapping it.
You do realize she's almost around the same age as J Lo. You know that, right?
So?
What? I'm trying to be I'm trying to have entanglements like Jada Pinkett with August Alsina. I don't know if I want.
It's J-Lo. I mean,
I know, but she fine though.
I mean, is she? I mean, never.
Yeah,
mind.
nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
hey, Martin Lawrence, absolute baby face. He was the king of the '90s. I mean, the Martin Show, Def Comedy Jam. I love the house party movies that he was on.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that Boomerang.
Yeah.
And speaking of Eddie Murphy, you gotta keep it real short and quick because I gotta do all the editing and stuff. Favorite Eddie Murphy moment?
Party all the time. Party all the time. I love that.
Good
song.
morning, my neighbors.
Thank
Hey, fuck
you.
you. Yes. Fuck you.
Look, I discovered this song that Eddie Murphy had made. Y'all, I thought he only made one song.
I'm surprised I used that. I thought you were gonna use the Sherman Klump one, the Nutty Professor, the dinner scene.
Yeah, that was my nickname in school, by the way, when I was a child.
Hercules.
So that brings back memories, man. Shout out to a lot of the cats that went to elementary school with me, man. Y'all was some funny dudes. Y'all had me laughing at them jokes. But I never forget that song. I'm not even gonna say that on the damn air because it sounds so damn suggestive. But those songs that Eddie Murphy made was classic. Party all the time, and then you had that other one, which was crazy. And look, to Dwayne's point, Dolomite is My Name was a great movie, which chronicled Dolomite's life. Y'all don't know who Dolomite is, man. That paved the way. Rudy Ray Moore, he paved the way for a lot of hip hop artists, man. Him and Pig Meat Martin. So, not to mention
Life. Let's not forget Life.
Beverly Hills Cop.
You gonna eat your cornbread?
Yeah,
Motherfucker, I'm gonna eat my cornbread.
And oh yeah, man. Um, you got to go with Harlem Nights, man. Today, in today's standard, that is in a billion dollar. That is in a $1 billion movie. With the star power that they had in that movie, that's in a $1 billion movie.
Red
I grew.
Fox, Robin Harris, Della Harris,
I mean,
Shoot the dice, you
Charlie.
snack a tooth, mother.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Richard
In
Pryor, rest
today's
his soul.
world, yeah.
Yeah.
My distant cousin. That's you know,
I
yeah. My last name Pryor, so yeah, that's my
know,
distant cousin.
I know, bro. I know, but I mean,
Yeah,
just
that's
think if you really were related to him, man.
I got a good sense of humor, so he passed some on to me. So, but
Hey,
by today's standard, that's in a $1 billion movie, man. You had Arsenio. I think Arsenio Hall was in there. Tommy was in there. Miguel was in. That's in a billion. If you put that in today's standards, considering the star power that each of them had or eventually became, that's in a $1 billion movie. We were spoiled. I was spoiled growing up watching these star-studded movies, man. I was really spoiled seeing all of those great comedians, all of that funniness in one movie. Not to mention Charlie Murphy in that movie as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that was amazing, man. And look, like I said, Eddie Murphy was a big hit in the 80s, man. Like I stated, he ruled the 80s and Martin Lawrence ruled the 90s. But, those classic movies that he made in the 80s, Harlem Nights, um, Coming to America, I mean the stand up comedy where
48 hours movies.
yeah, man. Look, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, thank y'all for making my childhood great, man. Because seeing y'all on the big screen and seeing y'all in comedy, and back then, they actually had discretion was advised, so we couldn't watch the grown folks movies as far as those were considered adult stuff back when that was seriously being regulated. So I had to sneak and watch the damn movie. So watching those comedy specials and watching Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3, especially that part in I think it was 3 when he met Bridget Nielsen. That was- you remember that
Yeah,
part of Beverly Hills
that was
Cop when he met Bridget Nielsen?
yeah, that was the second one, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, when he said, "Man, that's a big old woman."
Mm-hmm.
But Eddie Murphy, man, good stuff, man. And shout out to his late great brother Charlie Murphy, man, because he was just as funny. Because especially when he told that story about Daryl Stingley and them and the comedian. Yeah,
I forgot.
Oh,
Norbit was an underrated movie though. I like Norbit.
yeah.
yeah, Norbert is underrated.
Nobody is
Man,
underrated.
Eddie Eddie Murphy is on my Mount Rushmore of stand-up comedians. Like my stand up Mount Rushmore is him, Bernie Mac, Richard Pryor, and I would mine is probably Dave Chappelle. My Mount Rushmore of stand-up comedian. Like Eddie Murphy, like the Raw special is one of my favorite specials ever. Like I could still sit and watch Eddie Murphy Raw. What have you done for me lately, Eddie? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just classic. And then of course the movies, and then coming back in the 2000s with the Shrek movies, like just the Eddie Murphy gonna be one of the comedians that's just gonna be around like forever. Um, like I like if I have to like it's hard to pick a standout moment because he has like so many. Um, but honestly though, it's my favorite moment was the part of it was Eddie Murphy Raw where he did the impersonations of Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor, how he was talking while he was talking in the Bill Cosby voice, how he was, Bill Cosby was, was getting on him because he was cursing and all this stuff, and he did the voice, and it was just perfect. You can't say, and then just blurted out the F word. You can't say that. And then he did the Richard Pryor, and then that was funny. And he was like, "What did Richard Pryor say?" He said, tell Bill I said to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up." Like, like just just classic stuff. Like something like you just man, you knew what Eddie Murphy was about to be when he came up with them stand-up specials, man. But for me, that's the moment that sticks out because you knew what he was about to be, and he's like one of the all-time legends in the game. So I mean, it's hard to pick a standout Eddie Murphy moment because, in my opinion, I think he's the greatest comedian of all time. I think he's the greatest of all time. When you look at impact, you look at influence, and you just look at the amount of stand out performances he had, whether it's stand up or his movies. I think Eddie Murphy is the greatest comedian of all time. It's hard to pick a standout moment because I think he's the greatest to do it.
I think top 5 greatest comedians. I don't have them in order. Some people say Richard Pryor is the greatest. You can say Eddie Murphy, Richard, Eddie, Bernie, Chappelle, and I throw in my man Marty Marr.
Yeah, you got to throw in Martin. You got to throw in
Yeah,
Martin.
that's good. That's perfect.
That's perfect.
Yeah, you can't get mad at that list. If you get mad at that list, you just want to be mad.
You want to nitpick.
Although shout out to the big fella, he did introduce me to Andrew Dice Clay. He funny.
Underrated.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Andrew Dice Clay, bro.
And I throw one more name in there because I don't think, God rest his soul, he don't get enough credit because I mean he did a lot of like he made you think a lot with his comedy. George Carlin.
Yeah.
Yes.
I gotta admit this though. You may say I may get whatever banned or whatever, but my other favorite, Coming to America, the shower, the bathtub incident, how they bathing it, you know how they bathing Eddie Murphy, and then Arsenio Hall near at the end, you must be punished. And then he's looking at the beautiful woman. He's like, "Oh, thank you." You remember that scene, champ?
You gonna get her kicked off the damn air.
Get her smoked off the air, bro.
Hey, Deshaun Watson's probably looking at it right now.
Oh hell yeah! Oh, the lightning coming.
We finna go
right now.
We finna go.
I bet you, Brandon, right now he's probably playing that Mariah Carey.
He got that Mariah Carey song tuned up, ready to go.
Good God! This is why we call it the highlight of Friday night.
Ladies and gentlemen, the thoughts, opinions, and expressions are only shared by Sports PSP and PSP himself.
But yeah, when he opened up that damn door and saw James, that was funny.
That was funny. Boy. All right, y'all. We're gonna finish this one last topic. Favorite Will Smith song. Party in the city where the heat is on all night on the beach at the break of dawn. Listen, I'm from Miami. I was born in Miami. Lived there 5 years. After that, Haiti, and then once I came to the States in 2004, been in Jersey for 22 years. But if I go back to Miami, I'm playing that song. Especially when you drive in downtown beautiful Miami with all them beautiful women. I mean, the hot mommies and everybody like that. Listen, Will Smith, he gets a lot of flack because, again, of the soft, but in the 80s, let's not forget some of them cool songs he and DJ Jazzy Jeff did. We can't forget that. Of course, we can't forget Summertime, Parents Just Don't Understand. One of my other underrated songs, though, from Will, I Think I Could Beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I like that too. That was a good one. Yeah. Look, man, Will Smith did it his way, bro. He was the first ever crossover star, and guys was able to follow suit of that. He was one of the first rappers in order to get his own show. And then you saw a lot of guys follow suit. You saw LL Cool J was able to get in the house because of it. You know, you saw a lot of other rappers on sitcoms because of that. Back when it was popular, back when hip hop was at its peak. and he did it differently, man. So hey, people can call it soft now, but look, when you box office in rapping and the movies, I never forget. I think it was T.K. Kirkland who said this. He said people used to actually, when Will Smith would come out with movies, they would actually move their release date so they wouldn't be in competition with Will Smith. That's how good of an actor that he was, that he still is. So yeah, man. I'll say this. Going to Miami, Wild Wild West,
Mm.
M Kumo D and Cisco. That one was good. Look, I love the Man in Black song, man. The Ray Bans and the black suits. I definitely had a pair of Ray Bans, and I definitely wore my black suit when when that came out, man. I definitely wore my Ray Bans and wore my black suit when that came out, man. And look, Will Smith was a crossover superstar, man. He was able to do a lot of great things, and I think he summed it up in pretty much a nutshell at his VMA speech at, I think it was the 1999 Video Music Awards at MTV. Rest in peace to MTV, by the way. And he said this. He said, "I never kill anybody in my records. You never see anybody die in my records. I don't have to curse in my records. And I still managed to find myself up here. So to all of you who support me, thank you." Now, of course, that sparked a certain person to say, Will Smith don't got to cuss in this rap to sell records.
No, I
So,
do. So F
if you
you
too,
too.
but that just goes to show you how versatile that you could be. You didn't have to go out and be a gangster. You didn't have to go out and just be, a gangster rap. And he was succeeding in the era of gangster rap, not just in the 80s, in the 90s, when gangster rap was at its peak. He was succeeding in
Him
movies.
and Hammer.
Yeah, him and Hammer. So yeah, that just goes to show and that showed everybody. I never forget my dad used to use him as an example. You ain't got to be gangster. And keep in mind, Will Smith is from West Philly. He is from West Philly. So, his story could have been different or the same as many other ones. But, it was good to see that crossover star who was who did it differently than everybody else. Who you could listen to a record with your grandmother in the car. I mean, I think the worst lyric I ever heard him say, I think the most like gangster lyric I ever heard him say was on the Wild Wild West. He said, "You don't want to catch my hand where my hip be at." So that was probably the most, and some people even brazed across it just because he was just that good. So, hey, look. Now people gonna give Will Smith a lot of flack because of a lot of things, but man, Will Smith is that dude, man. When you that dude, one mistake does not define you, man. Even if you do go up and pimp slap somebody.
He rocked Chris Rock.
Hey man, don't make me put that Will Smith on you now.
Well, that's because for obvious reasons, but we won't go
Yeah,
there.
I know.
Go ahead, BRF.
All right. Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, like before I really got into like the harder hip hop, Will Smith, like growing up when I was younger, Will Smith was my guy. Before I got into like the really hard hip hop, like Will Smith was my guy. Like my all time favorite Will Smith track is "Summertime." That's my number one all time. Like just if I create a playlist and I want that song numero uno on top of the playlist is "Summertime." That's my all time favorite Will Smith track. But I mean, hell, the theme song to the show, for that matter, Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the theme song for the show. Good gracious, we bro, that song, that show come on, we still rap that jingle. That's how good that song was back in the day. Um, Gosh, what else? Getting jiggy with it. Um, yeah, the Men in Black song is like one of my favorite like movie soundtrack records ever. Wild Wild West is up there too. Switch. Like when he tried to make the comeback, like in the 2000 switch, that's a really good song. But yeah, and of course, Miami was a great song. Just cruising. That let me tell you something. I love Just Cruising growing back in the day. That was a really good song. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? What
Just
else?
the two of us.
Just yes, that's a good one. Just the
Yeah,
two of
man.
us is
Shout
a
out to
good
all
one.
the fathers out there.
Yeah,
Just
shout out
like
to
you.
yeah. Oh, I appreciate it, man. Shout out to Will. And shout out to Jaden. Like that was just yeah, that was a really good song. But but yeah, man, Will Smith is just like he's just one of these guys that yeah, we he doesn't deserve to be he doesn't deserve to just be like to have that one image of him slapping Chris Rock like really determine his outlook for the rest of his life as good as he was, really as good as he still is. And like I know DC hit the comment about like the freestyle he had, but let me tell you something. Some of his freestyles that he has put out have actually been really good. Like some of his new age freestyles have actually been really good. So he can still do it. Um, but yeah, but one favorite song of all time. If I'm riding in the car and I will blast "Summertime" until my speakers explode. That is still one of the great summer party records ever. Like it don't matter who you hanging around. You play "Summertime," you gonna dance. You're gonna dance. So yeah, shout out to Will Smith, just icon, legend of his time, and yeah, he still deserved to get his flowers.
Absolutely. And folks, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Please make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. Before we wrap up the show, any final words and tell them where to follow y'all at.
I'll go first. As always, BRL Sports is the TikTok handle. Y'all get on there, follow that. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the come up I've had over these last few years, and shout out to everybody in the Pot and Grind chat who's kind of helped me build, especially YouTube. Without y'all too, I wouldn't even have this platform to be here doing my thing anyway. So shout out to y'all. BR Sports, of course, is the TikTok handle. You can click the link tree in the bio. There you'll find my IG, you'll find my Facebook, you'll find my Twitter/X. You will also find my Discord. If you would like to try something new, hit up the Discord. I have a live invite link in there. Feel free to click, come in, join, have some fun. It's always a pleasure to get on here and talk sports with y'all too. It's always a pleasure to get on here to talk life with y'all too. So we're gonna keep doing this. I always enjoy it. It's always a pleasure. A topic not thought about is a topic not talked about, and we're gonna keep this bad boy rolling. Shout out to y'all too. Shout out to everybody out in the world. And just remember, love each other while you're here. Give each other flowers while you're here. Do it now while you're on the ground before you have to do it when you're 6 feet in the ground. Continue to love each other no matter what. Shout out to everybody.
Big fella.
I'm gonna say one thing and one thing only. No, I'm usually talkative, but I'm gonna say something on a serious note. We love you, Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Uh, well, indeed. Obviously, what's going on in this country? Obviously, the whole situation with ICE. I mean, it's sad with what's going on in this country, but hey, thank God we are still able to do what we do as far as podcasting, entertainment, just to take our minds off of what's going on in this world. As far as friends and family, just stay together, be together. If y'all have problems or whatever, talk to somebody, go to therapy, do whatever you can. Take time to yourself. Um, just start off the new year, man. We're in 2026 already, just a few weeks already in the new year. Let's just try to enjoy the new year as much as possible. And let's just try to look forward for bigger and better things. Because I know BRF and the Speed World Champ and we're doing our thing with our podcast, and we're going to continue doing our thing. And we're going to continue to grow and evolve, man. Um, Enjoy the rest of the football weekend. Please drink responsibly. Have a good time. Enjoy y'all weekend. Stay safe. God bless. And we is